For today is all about labor relations. Labor relations is indeed a very important topic. So I'm very happy today because I'm in the presence of professionals. And I'm also happy because I'm in the presence of fellow business owners, founders, and COOs. And also we have people who are knowledge seekers. Number 1, create a telecommuting policy for your employees. Ano ba tong telecommuting policy? What's important to note here is that wala dapat discrimination or wala dapat iniba sa terms and conditions of employment ng taong nag-work from home versus sa taong nasa office ninyo. Okay? That's the most salient feature of that law.
Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests, let me welcome Attorney Arlene D. Castro.
You need to set as an expectation from the start of employment the duties and responsibilities of the employee for it to be valid. If you provide all those to the employees such as rewards and recognition, etc., then I doubt that you will ever need to have this labor relations management program for your employees. So thank you guys and have a great day.
Meet Linkit, your team's new sales tool that allows you to turn more people into customers. With Linkit, you can simply tap your Linkit to another person's phone to send them all your contact information instantly. Watch as your team's leads and sales skyrocket by up to 240% and save over 50% on calling card printing costs. Discover advanced Linkit features, such as our Exchange Contact feature, where you can also collect your client's contact information, rather than just sending them yours, and our offline feature that allows your Linkit to work, even without Wi-Fi. You can also use Direct Link to choose a specific link that others access directly after tapping your Linkit card. Toggled on and off from your dashboard for seamless connections. Awesome, right? Enjoy unlimited sharing for life, unlimited edits to your profile, and unlimited links on your profile. It's never been easier for your team to meet people and convert them into customers. Go to www.linkit.asia to get Linkit for your team today.
Came from a desire to create a practice that was more than just a legal service provider. I wanted to build a firm that was a true partner to our clients. I saw a need for a more personalized, empathetic approach to the law, one that focused on proactive counsel and long-term relationships rather than just reactive litigation. Our firm was built on the principle that the law should be an enabler of business and not an obstacle.
Our firm's core practice areas are corporate law, commercial law, intellectual property, and dispute resolution. Together, these disciplines form the pillars of modern business. By focusing on these interconnected fields, we deliver comprehensive support that empowers clients to navigate every stage of the business lifecycle with confidence.
We ensure our clients feel supported through a commitment to transparent communication and a personalized approach tailored to their case. From the very first consultation, we make sure to provide a clear roadmap of the legal process, we set realistic expectations, and we break down complex legal jargon so they would understand everything. Of course, this is very important in establishing rapport with our clients. We also assign a dedicated legal team to each client, so there is always someone who knows their case inside and out.
We collaborate based on a culture of shared knowledge and expertise, recognizing that no single lawyer can fully address all aspects of a complex case. In handling such matters, we maximize the specialized knowledge of different lawyers within the firm, whether in litigation, corporate law, taxation, labor, or regulatory compliance, so that each angle is thoroughly addressed.
We operate on three core values: integrity, empathy, and excellence. We believe in being honest and earning our clients' trust. We make sure to understand our clients' perspective so we can provide the best counsel. And we're committed to delivering a level of service that goes above and beyond.
I represented someone who had been with his company since the beginning. He spent years developing software, bringing in clients, and helping build the business from the ground up. He approached us because his company was pushing him out. They offered him only a fraction of what his shares were worth, and he was ready to accept it, not knowing any better. Now, with our intervention, we secured a settlement of up to 4 times the original offer. Today, he runs his own successful marketing business, a reminder that the right legal support can completely change the course of someone's future.
Adaptability is in our DNA. We stay ahead of the curve through continuous education and proactive engagement with the new legal and business trends.
We are focused on expanding our digital footprint and our expertise in high-growth areas like data privacy, cybersecurity, and AI law. The business landscape is evolving rapidly, and our goal is not only to keep pace, but to be at the forefront of these new legal frontiers. We will continue to invest in our team and technology to ensure that we can provide the most forward-thinking, comprehensive legal support to our clients for the years to come. At the Castro Law Firm, we offer faster solutions, smarter strategies, and real results. We are not just your legal advisors. We are your partners for growth.
Okay, hello, my name is Angelo Romero. I'm the President and CEO of PNP Pain Center Corporation. Our company is a service company and we operate physical therapy and rehabilitation services.
Actually, sobrang dami naming challenges before working with De Castro, especially when it comes to the HR department. No, lahat ng mga aspects doon when it comes to proper termination, yung mga pag-build ng mga policies and all. So, doon kami pinaka nahirapan and natulungan kami na ma-align and maging compliant sa mga legalities and all ni De Castro. Overall, sobrang fun, sobrang collaborative, lalo na lahat ng mga staff, even sila attorney, no, hindi sila mahirap i-reach out, and at the same time, ang dami namin natututunan sa kanila, hindi lang more on sa HR aspects, even yung mga important ones, kaya masasabi ko naman na nag-grow talaga kami professionally dito kay De Castro.
I would definitely recommend it because definitely we appreciate yung services of De Castro. And sa mga co-businesses like us, we should accept or i-take natin to as not as an expense, no, but an investment. Kasi definitely to have structured HR processes is an advantage for our company. We could not cover everything on ourselves now. It's good to have a partner, especially expert on these areas. So having a partner, especially for HR compliance, it's nice to have like a De Castro consultancy services for our company.
My name is Alvanson So. I am known here as Vanson. I am the regional people lead for Canva, Philippines. And later this year, we're going to branch out into Indonesia, Thailand, and Vietnam. So it's going to be a truly regional role, which I'm very excited about. In the beginning of Canva, we need to explore tools that help us scale. We have to take a look at the processes that are quite repetitive, quite administrative heavy, and has a huge opportunity for automations. There's a lot of compliance and regulatory requirements. So the first boxes that we need to tick was to find platforms that will help enable the HR processes to get through and get done in as little effort and as little mistake as possible. Scale is very important. Efficiency, of course, becomes very critical as the size of the organization and the complexities of our processes get bigger. And definitely, we want to make sure that the platforms that we choose are the ones that can grow and scale in the same speed and pace as Canva. When we explore options, you also definitely want to consider who are the biggest contenders, who are the providers that are known to be reliable. We have to go down to cost and how this scales as we grow the company. And I think that this list of tick boxes have been quite exceptionally met by Sprout, which is why I think we've been with Sprout for the last 7+ years. Canva has been with Sprout even before I joined. When I joined Canva, for example, we were just around 250 employees, and platforms like Sprout is able to deliver the needs quite promptly, accurately, and despite growing to 900 headcount that we have today, same speed and reliability is expected and delivered without fail. I really like that we see higher velocities of work, where I get to do more with less, and people are actually not having any issues despite complexities and the increase in transactions, which is really good because it just gives us even more confidence that despite the growth or despite the changes in our ways of working, Sprout remains to be a reliable partner. There's many different alternatives available. We go for the company and for the platform that delivers its promise through great aftercare, great customer care, great technological interfaces, good customer support, and of course, the expected reliability that you get from Sprout. They're reliable, they are real partners, and they envision what we see as the future of our company. And we want to be able to work hand in hand, get to where we want to be in the next 10 years or so.
My name is Munish Mahajan. I'm the CEO and President of Pinnacle Intelligence. It's a company that's revolutionizing the US automotive retail industry. We started this company almost a few months back, and the intent is to bring global talent, technology, and analytics to this industry and improve their profitability, sales, and customer experience. Thankfully, I have had 2 stints before where I started a company from scratch. And both the times was in Philippines. And in between, I worked for a company in the corporate world. And as we were starting Pinnacle, I just remembered those times when I first started my stint with the other 2 startup companies. I recall there were a lot of challenges as we were growing. Especially when you're small, it's not easy to attract talent. It's not easy to attract the best talent. People, they want to join large, stable companies. That's one. And then I'm based in the US. So I needed eyes, ears, my arms and legs on the ground. So when I met Arlene for the first time, and when I met the entire team, and she walked me through what DeCastro could do, I knew this was a solution, that this is what we had to choose. And we actually signed up with DeCastro, and I'm so glad that we made that decision.
Hi, I'm Len Gonzalez and I'm the Human Capital Management Head of Dole Medical Group.
I handle 18 talented staff, which handle namely talent acquisition, compensation and benefits administration, employee relations, learning and organization development. To enhance natural beauty, promote self-confidence, and inspire individuals to live their best life. We want to be instrumental in promoting medical tourism in the country. The way to do it is to hire more people and training them for us to effectively grow and operate the clinics. We're looking at other locations in Asia where we can establish our clinics. We were using a 7-year-old HR and payroll system that did not fully meet our needs. My staff were doing a lot of workarounds. It required them to process the timekeeping and payroll for several days. The master file was not centralized. We were handling 4 companies, and for you to get access to a person in a certain company, you need to log in and out several times just to approve their request. The biometric logs were not accessible real time. The tax annualization was not present. At the end of each year, for us to know the year-to-date taxes of the employees, we needed to do it manually because it wasn't available in the old system. We were doing payroll for 2 days. For Sprout now, we can do it in a day and even credit the payroll on the same day. I would say the support. Before, there was an assigned account person for us. They were not responsive. What we did was make our own workarounds. For Sprout, response is very fast. Now we're with Sarah, who's very supportive and responsive. They're very complete in their plans. They have specific timelines for each activity. It only took us 2 parallel runs to implement the payroll. We didn't get much complaints from our employees. The transition was smooth from the implementation team, and once we implemented it, turned over to the customer success team, which are both responsive and helpful to us. Around only 3 months for us to get really used to it. After that, we're running it on our own without much help. The training was very good and comprehensive, and the trainer was also very helpful to us. Walkthroughs and the demos were very helpful, and it's also a combination of hands-on. Yeah, definitely I will recommend Sprout. What I do usually when I talk to my friends is tell them my experience with Sprout, from where we came from, how Sprout helped us manage our day-to-day operations in HR.
Okay, so good day. I'm Sharon Pedro.
And I'm Rizaan Santos.
My name is Hannah Williawina Eduarte Matienzo.
Ako si Godfrey Kibuyen.
I'm Kenneth Di Maculangan.
My name is Emeterio de Secenti Austria.
I see DPO as a minor function.
Actually, this one, very related siya with me because when the time was assigned to me this project, as in zero knowledge talaga ako.
Limitado lang yung kaalaman ko sa Data Privacy Act na hindi ko alam na ganun pala kalaki ang responsibilidad na gagawin.
I should say it's more on the DPO duties and responsibilities. I'm excited to go back in the plant to really, ang dami ko nang naplano, ang dami ko nang naisip, so I just have to animate that, to do the planning and to animate that coming from this training. So marami ako natutunan, definitely.
It's a lot of knowledge. So from zero knowledge, 6 right now. So mas confident na ako to create all the requirements na we need to comply with the NPC.
At dito ko rin natutunan na yung compliance, dapat gawin natin commitment.
Lalo yung sa mga notification and imprisonment, ayun yung mga key ways ko eh.
I was able to understand everything.
Thank you, Miss Attorney Arlene. Of course, we have Attorney Stefan and Attorney Kate.
It's a great experience. I would like to express my appreciation to the Castro team because even though we're a hybrid setup, face-to-face and online, I still cop up dun sa mga topics. Then at the same time, from the lawyers to Attorney Arlene, Attorney Stefan, and Attorney Kate, and to the rest of the marketing team.
Ang galing ng De Castro Consulting.
Because they are subject matter experts and because of the experience they had, I believe that it gives me confidence and at the same time, best understanding that I can take in a data protection course.
Yes, definitely. I will strongly recommend. Not only specific to the DPO training. In fact, in the survey, I showed some training that may be related. Like for example, the HR, the empowerment, the recognition, and reward. So, nanote ko na agad sa utak ko. If HR will ask me, I'll definitely recommend this consultant.
Yes, definitely. Yes. 10 out of 10.
I think so. If not for my colleagues, if not for me, in the future, maybe for my daughter.
Ano pa ba masasabi nyo? Puro legal experts sa privacy, mga mentor natin dito.
Yes, I will recommend it. Also, sa mga co-workmates, di ba? Yung sa mga managerial level, kumbaga mag-undergo din sila na kumbaga iba yung pang-company na magtuturo and siguro mas maganda na direct din, meron din silang knowledge.
Yes, of course. I believe because of, again, the expertise of the De Castro's consulting, people and even attendees will be able to catch everything that the data protection officer that needed, especially not only for compliance but the understanding that they need.
Today is all about labor relations. Labor relations is indeed a very important topic. So I'm very happy today because I'm in the presence of professionals. And I'm also happy because I'm in the presence of fellow business owners, founders, and COOs. And also we have people who are knowledge seekers. Number 1, create a telecommuting policy for your employees. Ano ba tong telecommuting policy? What's important to note here is that wala dapat discrimination or wala dapat iniba sa terms and conditions of employment ng taong nag-work from home versus sa taong nasa office ninyo. Okay? That's the most salient feature of that law.
Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests, let me welcome Attorney Arlene D. Castro.
You need to set as an expectation from the start of employment the duties and responsibilities of the employee for it to be valid. If you provide all those to the employees such as rewards and recognition, etc., then I doubt that you will ever need to have this labor relations management program for your employees. So thank you guys and have a great day.
Meet Linkit, your team's new sales tool that allows you to turn more people into customers. With Linkit, you can simply tap your Linkit to another person's phone to send them all your contact information instantly. Watch as your team's leads and sales skyrocket by up to 240% and save over 50% on calling card printing costs. Discover advanced Linkit features, such as our Exchange Contact feature, where you can also collect your client's contact information, rather than just sending them yours, and our offline feature that allows your Linkit to work, even without Wi-Fi. You can also use Direct Link to choose a specific link that others access directly after tapping your Linkit card. Toggled on and off from your dashboard for seamless connections. Awesome, right? Enjoy unlimited sharing for life, unlimited edits to your profile, and unlimited links on your profile. It's never been easier for your team to meet people and convert them into customers. Go to www.linkit.asia to get Linkit for your team today.
Came from a desire to create a practice that was more than just a legal service provider. I wanted to build a firm that was a true partner to our clients. I saw a need for a more personalized, empathetic approach to the law, one that focused on proactive counsel and long-term relationships rather than just reactive litigation. Our firm was built on the principle that the law should be an enabler of business and not an obstacle.
Our firm's core practice areas are corporate law, commercial law, intellectual property, and dispute resolution. Together, these disciplines form the pillars of modern business. By focusing on these interconnected fields, we deliver comprehensive support that empowers clients to navigate every stage of the business lifecycle with confidence.
We ensure our clients feel supported through a commitment to transparent communication and a personalized approach tailored to their case. From the very first consultation, we make sure to provide a clear roadmap of the legal process, we set realistic expectations, and we break down complex legal jargon so they would understand everything. Of course, this is very important in establishing rapport with our clients. We also assign a dedicated legal team to each client, so there is always someone who knows their case inside and out.
We collaborate based on a culture of shared knowledge and expertise, recognizing that no single lawyer can fully address all aspects of a complex case. In handling such matters, we maximize the specialized knowledge of different lawyers within the firm, whether in litigation, corporate law, taxation, labor, or regulatory compliance, so that each angle is thoroughly addressed.
We operate on three core values: integrity, empathy, and excellence. We believe in being honest and earning our clients' trust. We make sure to understand our clients' perspective so we can provide the best counsel. And we're committed to delivering a level of service that goes above and beyond.
I represented someone who had been with his company since the beginning. He spent years developing software, bringing in clients, and helping build the business from the ground up. He approached us because his company was pushing him out. They offered him only a fraction of what his shares were worth, and he was ready to accept it, not knowing any better. Now, with our intervention, we secured a settlement of up to 4 times the original offer. Today, he runs his own successful marketing business, a reminder that the right legal support can completely change the course of someone's future.
Adaptability is in our DNA. We stay ahead of the curve through continuous education and proactive engagement with the new legal and business trends.
We are focused on expanding our digital footprint and our expertise in high-growth areas like data privacy, cybersecurity, and AI law. The business landscape is evolving rapidly, and our goal is not only to keep pace, but to be at the forefront of these new legal frontiers. We will continue to invest in our team and technology to ensure that we can provide the most forward-thinking, comprehensive legal support to our clients for the years to come. At the Castro Law Firm, we offer faster solutions, smarter strategies, and real results. We are not just your legal advisors, we are your partners for growth.
Okay, hello, my name is Angelo Romero. I'm the President and CEO of PNP Pain Center Corporation. Our company is a service company and we operate physical therapy and rehabilitation services.
Actually, sobrang dami naming challenges before working with De Castro, especially when it comes to the HR department. No, lahat ng mga aspects doon when it comes to proper termination, yung mga pag-build ng mga policies and all. So, doon kami pinaka nahirapan and natulungan kami na ma-align and maging compliant sa mga legalities and all ni De Castro. Overall, sobrang fun, sobrang collaborative, lalo na lahat ng mga staff, even sila attorney, no, hindi sila mahirap i-reach out, and at the same time, ang dami namin natututunan sa kanila, hindi lang more on sa HR aspects, even yung mga important ones, kaya masasabi ko naman na nag-grow talaga kami professionally dito kay De Castro.
I would definitely recommend it because definitely we appreciate yung services of De Castro. And sa mga co-businesses like us, we should accept or i-take natin to as not as an expense, no, but an investment. Kasi definitely to have structured HR processes is an advantage for our company. We could not cover everything on ourselves, no. It's good to have a partner, especially expert on these areas. So having a partner, especially for HR compliance, it's nice to have like a De Castro consultancy services for our company.
My name is Alvanson So. I am known here as Manson. I am the regional people lead for Canva, Philippines. And later this year, we're going to branch out into Indonesia, Thailand, and Vietnam. So it's going to be a truly regional role, which I'm very excited about. In the beginning of Canva, we need to explore tools that help us scale. We have to take a look at the processes that are quite repetitive, quite administrative heavy, and has a huge opportunity for automations. There's a lot of compliance and regulatory requirements. So the first boxes that we need to tick was to find platforms that will help enable the HR processes to get through and get done in as little effort and as little mistake as possible. possible. Scale is very important. Efficiency, of course, becomes very critical as the size of the organization and the complexities of our processes get bigger. And definitely, we want to make sure that the platforms that we choose are the ones that can grow and scale in the same speed and pace as Canva. When we explore options, you also definitely want to consider who are the biggest contenders, who are the providers that are known to be reliable. We have to go down to cost and how this scales as we grow the company. And I think that this list of tick boxes have been quite exceptionally met by Sprout, which is why I think we've been with Sprout for the last 7+ years. Canva has been with Sprout even before I joined. When I joined Canva, for example, we were just around 250 employees, and platforms like Sprout is able to deliver the needs quite promptly, accurately, and despite growing to 900 headcount that we have today, same speed and reliability is expected and delivered without fail. I really like that we see higher velocities of work where I get to do more with less, and people are actually not having any issues despite complexities and the increase in transactions, which is really good because it just gives us even more confidence that despite the growth or despite the changes in our ways of working, Sprout remains to be a reliable partner. There's many different alternatives available. We go for the company and for the platform that delivers its promise through great aftercare, great customer care, great technological interfaces, good customer support, and of course, the expected reliability that you get from Sprout. They're reliable, they are real partners, and they envision what we see as the future of our company. And we want to be able to work hand in hand to get to where we want to be in the next 10 years or so.
My name is Munish Mahajan. I'm the CEO and President of Pinnacle Intelligence. It's a company that's revolutionizing the US automotive retail industry. We started this company almost a few months back, and the intent is to bring global talent, technology, and analytics to this industry and improve their profitability, sales, and customer experience. Thankfully, I have had 2 stints before where I started a company from scratch, and both the time it was in Philippines. And in between, I worked for a company in the corporate world. And as we were starting Pinnacle, I just remembered those times when I first started my stint with the other 2 startup companies. I recall there were a lot of challenges as we were growing. Especially when you're small, it's not easy to attract talent. It's not easy to attract the best talent. People, they want to join large, stable companies. That's one. And then I'm based in the US. So I needed eyes, ears, my arms and legs on the ground. So when I met Arlene for the first time, and when I met the entire team, and she walked me through what Decastro could do, I knew this was a solution, that this is what we had to choose. And we actually signed up with Decastro, and I'm so glad that we made that decision.
Hi, I'm Len Gonzalez, and I'm the Human Capital Management Head of Dole Medical Group.
I handle 18 talented staff, which handle namely talent acquisition, compensation and benefits administration, employee relations, learning and organization development. To enhance natural beauty, promote self-confidence, and inspire individuals to live their best life. We want to be instrumental in promoting medical tourism in the country. The way to do it is to hire more people and training them for us to effectively grow and operate the clinics. We're looking at other locations in Asia where we can establish our clinics. We were using a 7-year-old HR and payroll system that did not fully meet our needs. My staff were doing a lot of workarounds. It required them to process the timekeeping and payroll for several days. The master file was not centralized. We were handling 4 companies, and for you to get access to a person in a certain company, you need to log in and out several times just to approve their request. The biometric logs were not accessible real time. The tax annualization was not present. At the end of each year, for us to know the year-to-date taxes of the employees, we needed to do it manually because it wasn't available in the old system. We were doing payroll for 2 days. For Sprout now, we can do it in a day and even credit the payroll on the same day. I would say the support. Before, there was an assigned account person for us. They were not responsive. What we did was make our own workarounds. For Sprout, response is very fast. Now we're with Sarah, who's very supportive and responsive. They're very concrete in their plans. They have specific timelines for each activity. It only took us 2 parallel runs to implement the payroll. We didn't get much complaints from our employees. The transition was smooth from the implementation team, and once we implemented it, turned over to the customer success team, which are both responsive and helpful to us. Around only 3 months for us to get really used to it. After that, we're running it on our own without much help. The training was very good and comprehensive, and the trainer was also very helpful to us. Walkthroughs and the demos were very helpful, and it's also a combination of hands-on. Yeah, definitely I will recommend Sprout. What I do usually when I talk to my friends is tell them my experience with Sprout, from where we came from, how Sprout helped us manage our day-to-day operations in HR.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another De Castro Consulting Masterclass episode. So, first and foremost, we would like to thank everyone for making the time to be here. There's a lot of you here, and of course, we want to hear from you. So, please feel free to use the react buttons and chat in the chat box. Please, we would love to hear from you. So, we're happy to have you here because for today's session, we'll be tackling something that we feel like will resonate with all of you as HR professionals and as knowledge leaders and as business leaders. So for today, we really want to ask the question, how can organizations strengthen their HR compliance and prepare for possible Dole concerns before these issues escalate into complaints, inspections, or costly disputes? Because let's all be real here. The way we are or the way we operate culturally even is that we tend to only review our HR practices or a problem when there's already an issue happening. But here at the Castro Consulting, we want to foster a culture of proactiveness rather than passiveness, and we want to share exclusive knowledge to help you prevent employee complaints and Dole issues before they even begin. So that's exactly what we're unpacking today. Welcome to the Castro Consulting Masterclass Season 4, Episode 6. Before Dole knocks, how employers can prepare for labor compliance issues. So this is a free online masterclass with a free e-certificate offered by the Castro Consulting as part of our commitment to helping organizations strengthen HR compliance and reduce labor-related risks in order to build more accountable workplace practices. So I'm Viela Ann Santiago, your host and marketing specialist here at the Castro Consulting, and I will be guiding you through today's session. Now, before we begin, of course, as I mentioned, we really love to hear from you. Please use the chat box to your heart's content. Siguro, I want to assess your readiness. If you believe your organization is fully prepared. Like in case of a Dole dispute or it's ready to produce the necessary files, contracts, and records when requested. Siguro drop a check mark in the group chat, in the chat box below. And if there are, if you know there's still gaps or if you're not confident yet, then maybe you could share a sad react. Ayun. So let's see how confident you all are when it comes to your company's compliance. Okay, so I'm seeing a check mark and I'm seeing sad faces too. So dun sa may sad faces, don't worry. We aim to turn that frown upside down by sharing you some of our best practices in today's session. But it's also good to see that a lot of you guys are ready, are sending in check marks. For those of you sending check marks, of course, we'll give you additional tips in order to ensure that you guys continue to maintain the best practices you guys probably already know. So, a general disclaimer before we start, the information contained in this session is for general information purposes only. The Castro Consulting assumes no responsibility for errors or omissions in the contents of this presentation. Okay, so since we have the general disclaimer out of the way, um, we'd like to invite you to a Mentimeter session. So essentially, this is your opportunity to engage with us if you're familiar with Mentimeter. But if you're not, simply go to the website and enter the code. So it's chatted in the Zoom GC in case you want to copy and paste it. But you can also go take your phones right now, go to the website, input the code, and you'll be redirected to a Mentimeter link where it's a bigger chance for all of you to interact with us. This is essentially the portion of the masterclass where we really hear from the participants and we get a good overview of what the participants might be dealing with. This is us getting to know more about you because, as we mentioned, we really value your presence here and we want to hear from you. So if we could just please switch to the Mentimeter screen already. We are currently at around, so there's a lot of you guys here today. So hello, welcome. We're very happy to have you. Siguro we can wait for around 100 participants in the Mentimeter. And for those of you who are unable to access the Mentimeter platform, or if you're encountering any issues with your connection or in the website, then it's no worries. You can simply join or participate still by chatting the answers in the Zoom chat box. So, as I've mentioned, this is your chance to essentially answer a few questions, and it's a good opportunity for us to get to know everyone. Okay, so we are nearing 100 participants in the Mentimeter link, and just I think okay, so we're at 99, one more. Okay, I think we can proceed with the Mentimeter. So we're with a couple of very enthusiastic audience today, and we're very happy to have all of you here. Okay, so for our Mentimeter session, let's begin by, of course, what's the first word that comes to your mind when you hear the word Dole? So a lot of you guys have mentioned compliance, which is something that I love because here at the Castro Consulting, we are all about compliance. Labor laws is also like one of the top answers. Let's see some of the other not so common responses. Job, anything labor related, audit. In that very, very small corner there, I see the word audit. So that's also a good answer. Labor rules and regulation, employee-employer guide. I really like that one, employee-employer guide, because it kind of shows that it's a partnership. Someone in the Zoom said, paying the mandated government benefits of our employees. Yes. Policies. Policy is also something that I see come up a lot. So it seems like we all have like a common overarching understanding that Dole equals labor compliance. So that's a good foundational knowledge. Okay, so hope it's a good thing that most of the responses don't have a negative connotation to it. So that's something that we like, and of course the neutrality helps build towards that readiness in case something not so good happens in the future. Okay, so now that we have that first word cloud out of the way, let's move on to the second one. What is your biggest HR concern right now? Compliance is also our number one response. But we also see here recruitment. So maybe that's something we can help with. Employee relations. There are people here who said none. And to those people who said none, I applaud you that you don't have any HR concerns. We are proud of you and hopefully you keep that up. Complaints is also something that we see. Salary metrics, burnout and well-being, innovation, employee relations, all of the above, someone said. Culture, that's a good word. We're all about culture here as well. Not prepared, learning and development. Okay, so but we also like that you guys are really highlighting compliance, no? Because it goes to show that you guys are very eager and proactive to know more and to get your papers in order. So we are a big fan of that because here at the Castro Consulting, we always say that compliance is a competitive advantage because when you comply, you avoid mishaps that might cost you more in the future. So good. It's a good thing, even if it's a concern right now. So we give applause to you guys for recognizing that concern. And I think we can proceed to our last word cloud, if I'm not mistaken, which is how confident are you in your company's compliance? Okay, so a lot of you guys good. So it's good that most of you have a relatively good confidence in your company's compliance. And but there is like a number of you that's not so confident. 5 out of 10. That's like halfway there. So don't worry. We aim to get that 5 out of 10 to hopefully 8 to 10 out of 10 by the end of the session. Okay, policy and procedure, not bad. Confident enough. So that's a good thing. Moderate, average, 9 out of 10. Okay, so either way, regardless of how confident you are, you're all here today, which means that, as I've mentioned, you guys are in the process of recognizing that there's work that needs to be done, and it's already a big step for you guys. So, good job. Okay, so I think that's all of the questions for our Mentimeter session, and we can go back to the proper presentation. So thank you all to those who joined the Mentimeter link and those who chatted in the Zoom chat box. So this is one of my favorite sessions in the masterclass because I really get to know the participants, and it also helps the speaker contextualize what points might be helpful to tackle in their talk. Okay, so of course, now that we're done with the Mentimeter session, we would also like to call for everyone to engage with our social media channels. So we are live on our YouTube channel, and of course, if you want, you can also post. We would appreciate that on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. We are in all of the social media platforms. And you can use the official hashtags flashed in the screen, which is hashtag before Dolinox, hashtag masterclass episode, season 4, episode 6, hashtag the Castro Consulting PH. So see you all in our social media platforms. Next, we would also like to give thanks to all of the organizations and the entities who made this masterclass possible. So first and foremost, we'd like to acknowledge Digitier. a software solutions company enabling businesses to scale through AI automation and smart digital solutions designed to drive real business results. We'd also like to thank our next sponsor, Emerge PH, a company helping organizations install reliable leadership behavior change across the Philippines and beyond. This masterclass is also in partnership with Lead Gen PH, a growing community of Filipino GTM operators helping companies hire job-ready SDR talent while building real B2B sales careers in the Philippines. And of course, we'd also like to give thanks to Sprout Solutions, your all-in-one payroll and HR platform solutions. And of course, outside the box co-working space study and lounge where creativity meets productivity. And of course, outside the box co-working reserve, not your typical co-working space, where you can also engage and explore virtual office solutions. And of course, Link It, your number one smart tap calling card designed to help you share your business information with anyone all in one tap. So we'd like to, of course, give thanks to all of these organizations for supporting knowledge sharing in the business, leadership, HR, and compliance community. Organizing this would not be possible without them, and it's thanks to them that we can deliver all of these free resources, free master classes for all of you guys. So let's drop a couple of heart reacts for our partners and sponsors. Okay, so now that we've acknowledged the partners and sponsors, in time for housekeeping reminders. So to make this session smooth, we'd like to advise everyone to mute and turn off their microphone. And please ensure that your Zoom name matches your registration name. We also encourage everyone to stay for more than 90 minutes in the webinar to be qualified for a free e-certificate. And of course, at the end of the session, we'll be sending you the post-training survey where you can fill it up, and that's what we'll refer to when it comes to distributing your certificates. So in regards to the certificates, I would like to advise that it takes 3 to 5 business days to process your e-certificates, as we still have to cross-check and ensure that you meet all of the requirements and criteria. But if you have any concerns about the certificates, you may reach out to marketing at decastroconsulting.ph. Okay, so now that we have that out of the way, of course, we'd like to also remind everyone that there will be a Q&A session. Essentially, at the end of the session, you can make use of this feature to ask the speaker any questions. This is really your opportunity to engage. And please treat this as a strategic conversation, because you essentially get to have access to an expert and you get to ask them questions that might help you when it comes to your daily operations. But if there are any questions that aren't entertained for today's meeting, then no worries. You can always reach us in our pages, and we'll try our best to be very responsive, and of course we'll accommodate you to the best that we can. Of course, okay, so I think that's all of the reminders that we need to distribute to everyone. So just a little bit about our services, those in case there are individuals here that are first timers when it comes to our masterclass. So welcome. So we are the Castro Consulting, and when it comes to our services, our CEO likes to say that we offer everything under the sun, but I would say it really boils down to compliance. Want to help we want to help simplify complex corporate needs in order to ensure that our clients focus on earning profit, and essentially our mission is to just simplify corporate structures and enrich long-term partnerships. We offer master classes like these for free because we believe that education should empower businesses to make better decisions. And of course, we believe that compliance should be proactive and not reactive. So at the Castro Consulting, we are your partners in business growth. And if your organization is struggling with compliance gaps, operational bottlenecks, or anything related to all of these flash in the screen, then you may always reach out to us. Okay, so I think that's it. And now it's time for the most awaited part, which is the speaker. So I would like to introduce our guest today. He is someone who works directly when it comes to HR compliance, government regulations, operational systems, and I think the good thing about our speakers today is he has a lot of hands-on experience when it comes to real business execution. So Mr. Yurip Hernandez, our guest for today, is the Operations Director of the Castro Consulting. He specializes in HR compliance, Dole regulations, and government agency compliance. So he leads compliance initiatives through effective project management, helping organizations prevent workplace issues, reducing legal risks, and strengthening HR government in order to build compliant, efficient, and sustainable operations. So most importantly, as I've mentioned, he also has a lot of hands-on experience when it comes to helping organizations translate regulatory requirements into actual practical systems and processes. Because knowing that an organization needs to comply is one thing, but making sure that employee contracts are complete, payroll records are accurate, employee files are updated, and government contributions are like properly maintained. All of those things, it requires consistent implementation with proper structure, documentation, and accountability. And that's exactly what Sir Uriam will be helping us with today. So without further ado, Mr. Uriam, if you're here, you may take the floor and speak to our participants.
Okay, thank you very much, V, for that very heartwarming introduction. So, good afternoon, everyone. And first of all, thank you for taking your time out of your busy schedule. I know the weather is not optimal because it's raining cats and dog in some areas, and I hope you guys are safe. And I know many of you are still working despite this weather and have been wearing many hats. Some are HR here, some are the business owners, and I think some are managers, supervisors, and even in payroll or accounting, and of course, admin. So, regardless of your title, one thing unites us all here. Each of us plays a role in ensuring that our workplace comply with the Philippine labor laws. So, before we begin, I'd like to ask a question, and if you have in the group in the chat, thumbs up if you're confident, and thumbs down if you're not. How many of you would honestly feel confident if the inspectors from the Department of Labor or DOLE arrive at your office tomorrow without any notice? Okay, I'm seeing a lot of thumbs up. That's a happy thing to see. Ayan. So no warning, no opportunity to organize the files, no chance to call your payroll provider if you have one, and no time for HR to ask HR with the employment contracts. So when they come actually there, would you confidently welcome them, or the first thing instinct to say is, "Can you please come back next week?" And no, I'm actually very happy that a lot of you are thumbs up. Okay, so most organizations become anxious at the mere thought of a labor inspection. Interestingly, this anxiety does not always stem from intentional violations. More are often it arises from uncertainty. Employers are unsure whether their documentation is complete. So whether payroll has been computed correctly or whether all legal requirements have been met. Benjamin Franklin famously once said, "An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure." And this quotation perfectly summarizes today's discussion. We are not here because we expect Dolly to come tomorrow. for in every business to do an inspection. We are here because responsible employers prepare before the problems arise. I'd like to share an experience. Quite recently, I assisted a company that they actually did receive the notice already. The HR manager, I was talking to her, confidently saying, "Hey, don't worry, Urim, we have everything." So of course, I went through the checklist of what the things are. So he's like, "Hey, where are your employment contracts?" "Oh, we're preparing it right now. We're compiling it." "Oh," and then I asked, "Where are your leave records?" Or "We'll organize them tomorrow," was the response. "And how about your handbook?" "Oh, we're updating it." And at that point, everyone in the room realized something important. They were not compliant. They had good intentions, but unfortunately, Dole inspections evaluate actual compliance, not intentions. So today's masterclass is therefore not simply about avoiding penalties. It is about building systems that protects employees, strengthen management, and safeguard the future of your business. Now, throughout this afternoon, I encourage everyone to participate. So if you have ever experienced a labor inspection, feel free to reflect on those experiences as we go along. And if you have questions, jot them down as we instructed earlier, and we'll reserve time in the discussion later. So let's begin. So to understand where we're going, let's establish first what we hope to accomplish today. So the next slide, please. Yeah, so those are the objective. Today is designed to be highly practical. I deliberately avoided making this class resemble a law school lecture. You don't need to memorize article numbers or legal jargon to become compliant. Instead, I want you to understand how labor compliance works in everyday operations. And by the end of today's session, you should be able to identify the most common compliance issues that arises during DOLE inspection. You'll know which employment records every employer should maintain. You'll recognize HR practices that expose companies to unnecessary legal risks. Most importantly, you'll learn to preventive strategies that can help your organization become inspection ready at any time. The famous musician B.B. King once said, "The beautiful thing about learning is that no one can take it away from you. Knowledge becomes valuable only when we apply it." So I encourage everyone not just to listen. Think about your organization. Ask yourself throughout today's discussion. Do we actually do this? Yeah. Do we have this document? Would we be able to produce this during an inspection? Sometimes, like I'm seeing right now, the answer is yes. But sometimes it is no. Both answers are actually very valuable because this help us identify areas for improvement. And one thing I have observed after attending, many HR and labor discussions, most employers do not intentionally violate labor laws. Instead, many problems arise because people assume. We've always done it that way. Kasi dati ito na yung ginagawa. Unfortunately, labor law evolves. Wage order changes. There was a recent one. Dolly issuance changes as well. There are updates, regular updates. And even OSH regulations changes. And of course, even your business also changes. Compliance therefore requires a continuous learning. And today is one step in that journey. Now that we've established our objectives, let's focus on more fundamental questions. Why should employers care about labor compliance in the first place? Next slide, please. Yeah, okay. So whenever I talk about this topic, someone eventually asks, Yurim, why should we spend so much time on compliance if our employees are happy? Happy naman sila. Walang problema natin. That is an excellent question. The simple answer is this. Happy employees do not automatically mean compliant employers. Likewise, compliant employers often create happier employees. Businesses spend years building trust. But in this day and age, one labor complaint, one viral social media post, one accident, or one unfavorable inspection, these can significantly affect a company's reputation. Another common misconception is Dole inspections only occur after there is a complaint. That is not true. Dole conducts routine inspections. They actually have a season, and honestly, I'll be honest with you guys, it has started. We have multiple clients that already had Dole inspections, na yung routine checks. Inspections may also happen from workplace accident, anonymous report, government programs, or referrals from other agencies. Imagine this situation. In a construction office or construction business, a worker suffers a serious accident. Naturally, multiple government agencies become involved. The police, um, their local government. And then suddenly, Dole inspectors are not only reviewing the accident, they're examining your payroll, your employment contracts, your safety records, your remittances to the SSS, and your personal files. The investigation becomes much broader than the original incident. This illustrates an important lesson. Compliance is interconnected. One weakness often exposes others. And may I ask everyone a question? How many of you here have experienced employees resigning amicably? So they're your friends after their resignation, only to receive a labor complaint several months later. Thumbs up if you have experienced that. Mhm. So one, two, three, four up. So there is a lot of people who have experienced this. This happened more often than many employers actually expect. An employee may leave quietly or in amicable terms. But months later, after speaking with friends or reading something online, they began asking questions. Was my overtime computed correctly? Tama ba yung holiday rate ko ba? Tama. Or did they remit my benefits, SSS? Ayan. Or sa PhilHealth? Many labor disputes begin not because of a bad relationship, but because documentation is incomplete. That is why compliance protects both employees and employers. It creates clarity, it builds trust, it reduces uncertainty, and most importantly, it allows businesses to focus on growth rather than disputes. So, understanding why compliance matters naturally leads us to another question. Where do organizations become vulnerable? Where do legal risks begin? So, next slide, please. Yan. So, understanding HR risks. Every HR process create legal exposure. So from hiring, promotion, payroll, leave administration, discipline, termination. Each of this decision has legal implication. And as our list say here in the slide, like illegal dismissal, wage violations, those are risks. But one of my favorite management quotation is from an old Chinese proverb. The palest ink is better than the best memory. In HR, documentation is everything. You may have treated an employee fairly. You may have followed company procedures. You may even have witnesses. But if your records are incomplete, proving compliance becomes much more difficult. One statement I often hear from a lot of leaders is, I already informed the employee verbally. Sinabihan ko na siya, nag-usap na kami. Sounds familiar? And then I ask the next question. So, where's the written notice? Where was the written acknowledgement? Silence. Another example, a common saying is that, hey, everybody knows our policies. And then I ask, can you show me that the signed acknowledgement or the email acknowledgement that they actually have received it? Again, most of the time the answer is silence. And this brings us to most important principle you're here today. If it isn't documented, it didn't happen. I know it's a little harsh, but in labor dispute, documentation often carries more weight than memory. So let me share another example. And this, I think, is a very familiar example. A lot of companies have this. A company will terminate an employee for repeated absenteeism. You know, there are records of the absenteeism. However, when records reviewed, there are no written warnings, no notices, no say sign explanation, no investigation records. The employee admitted being absent, diba? There are timekeeping records, but because the company could not prove that due process had been followed, the dispute becomes much more complicated than it should have been. Documentation protects everyone. Employees understand expectation, managers apply policies consistently, and the company demonstrates fairness. Good documentation is not about preparing for lawsuits. No, it's not. It's about creating accountability. So, if our documentation is our strongest protection, the next logical question becomes, what exactly should every employer already have before the Dole comes knocking? Next slide, please. Ayan. So, raise your hand if your company has all of this. Signed contracts, employee handbook, complete payroll, updated 201 file, and a safety officer. Thumbs up if you have all five of these. Yeah, good. I'm seeing a lot of people doing the thumbs up. I'm happy that you have this. Yeah. Oh, no safety officer. We'll discuss that later. Yeah, but this before. Again, we are here to improve. Yeah. So before, Benjamin Franklin again reminded us that by failing to prepare, you are preparing to fail. Yeah. And no quotation could better describe labor compliance. And one of the most common scenes I've witnessed after companies receive a notice of inspection is panic. HR start calling other departments, payroll starts printing records. Then suddenly you hear the questions. Does anybody know where the 201 files are? Oh, who has the attendance records? Hey, let's update the handbook before the inspection. Let's update the handbook before the inspection. By then, everyone realized the same thing. They are preparing for an inspection that should have been prepared for all along. Compliance should not begin when the notice arrives. Compliance should have already been embedded in our daily operations in the organization. Think of compliance as maintaining your health. Alam natin, di ba? Parang if most of us know that we should be exercising, eating healthy food, and have regular checkups, we don't wait for the heart attack to start taking care of our health. And that principle applies to labor compliance. Routine maintenance is easier and far less expensive than emergency repairs. This is why every employer should maintain updated contracts, payroll records, attendance logs, etc., and other things. Notice something important. These are not merely documents. They'll tell the story of how your organization treats your employees. When inspector review your records, they are not only checking compliance, they're asking a larger question. Can this employer demonstrate fairness, consistency, and accountability? That is the true purpose of documentation. And before we move on to the next topic, I'd like everyone to reflect on your own workplace. Imagine and if I give you 15 minutes to produce all your employment contracts, payroll records, and leave records and employee files. Could you do it? Thumbs up if you can. Yan, I see you now. Okay. That's good to see. Or if not, your team would start searching for filing cabinets, email inboxes and old folders. Oh, I mean, if you can have 15 minutes, kaya mo bang i-produce lahat ng documents na hinihingi nandun? So your answers reveal how inspection ready your organization really is. So in the next section, we'll begin examining each of these documents in greater detail, starting perhaps with the most fundamental document in every employment relationship, the employment contract. Next slide. Yeah. Okay. So, okay, one more, please. Employment contract. Ayan. So, now let's talk about, let me ask another question. How many of you have experienced an employee saying, oh, that wasn't what we agreed upon when I was hired? O, hindi naman to na sa contract ko ah. Wala naman to sa pinag-usapan natin. Raise your hand, thumbs up if you have. Ayan. So I see two. You see a lot. Ayan. Somebody even laughing at it. Very common. And then, I'm sure many of you have encountered situations. Sometimes it's about the salary, sometimes about schedule. Sometimes it's about the job responsibility, and sometimes even benefits. And in even some occasion, pati yung employment status na hindi sigurado. A good employment contract does not only favor the employer, neither does it exist only to protect the employee. A well written contract protects both parties because everyone knows exactly what they agreed upon. So when I review a employment contract, I usually ask these questions. Is the position clearly stated? Is the salary correctly indicated? Is the work schedule specified? Are benefits clearly identified? Is the probationary period properly explained? Does the contract contain confidentiality provisions where appropriate? And does it reference company policies? Sometimes I believe a lot of us have seen this in working and if you're in HR, naka-receive na ba kayo ng one-page contract or employment contract? Ah, yeah. So, and they simply state the employee's name, position, and salary. Everything else is left of verbal discussion. Thumbs up if you actually have seen that contract. Yan. Siya, di ba nakakita na tayo na one pager lang. So, that creates a lot of unnecessary risk. Let me share a story. A company hired before an employee and her job title was marketing assistant. After 2 years, management required that employee to supervise several staff members and perform managerial functions. Of course, the employee refused. Management insisted, hey, that you're supervising employees has always been part of your job. The employee disagreed. Unfortunately, there was no written job description attached to the contract because it's a one pager. And a disagreement could have been became much more difficult to resolve because there was no document establishing the original expectation. This illustrates an important lesson. Employment contracts are not simply legal documents. They are your communication tools. They establish expectations before misunderstanding arise. Peter Drucker once observed, the most important thing in communication is hearing what isn't said. In employment relations, many disputes arise not because there was malicious intent or there was an intent to mislead, but most of the time, it's assumption for things that were never written down. So let me ask again, everyone. If I randomly selected one employee from your organization, would you be confident that his or her employment contract clearly reflects the actual work arrangement? Thumbs up if you do. Yeah, and I see one, I see two, see three. And so that's something I think if the answer is yes, you're already ahead of many organizations, honestly. But if the answer is no, you have identified one of your first compliance priorities. That's your contract. Now, a contract tells every employees the terms of employment. How do they learn the rules that govern everyday behavior? And that brings us to the next document. Next slide, please. Yeah, the employee handbook. Imagine you're hiring today. The new hire orientation. You explain the company rules during this time, and all the employees nod politely. 3 months later, the employee violated attendance policies, and you issue disciplinary action as standard. And the employee starts telling, "Oh, nobody told me about this." How would you prove otherwise? That is where the employee handbook becomes indispensable. Many companies would probably tell me na, hey, we do have a handbook. And I respond, great. May I see the acknowledgement signed by every employee? That's when the rule becomes signed. A handbook that is sitting on your laptop folder or in your G drive or in some cases na print out ka isa-isang copy is not enough. Policies only become effective when employees receive them, understand them, and acknowledge them. Amen. So, what does an employee handbook should include? One is the code of conduct. Two, your attendance rules, your leave policies, your performance standards, your disciplinary procedure, the anti-sexual harassment policy, data privacy policies, occupational and safety rules, and in some cases, social media guidelines. Okay? But having these policies is only the first step. Consistency is what gives these policies credibility. Let me share an experience. There was a supervisor, it was a what was the company? Real estate company. The supervisor, the team lead, regularly allowed his team teammates to report late without consequence. Why? They were high performers. Maraming benta. Even other employees received written warnings for the same offense. Eventually, one of these disciplined employees filed a complaint alleging unfair treatment. So when we reviewed the documentation, of course the complaint had merit. The issue was not attendance policy. The issue was inconsistent enforcement. Employees observe fairness more carefully than we sometimes realize. One of the fastest way to lose employee trust is selective enforcement. So here's something I encourage every manager to remember, any leader. Policies should never depend on personalities. Hindi dahil mabenta siya or pinakamagaling siya, he's exempted. Rules should be applied consistently. Of course, there are legitimate risk exceptions, but those exceptions should be documented as well. Ask yourself today, if I interviewed 5 employees separately, would they all describe the company rules the same way? If not, then perhaps the handbook exists, but the communication does not. Speaking of fairness, let's discuss one area that affects employees more than anything else: salaries, payroll. Yeah, next slide, please. So, if there's one document that every employee will consistently examine more than anything, any file, even better than their employee contract, that's their payslip. Yeah, people forget that happened during last month's meeting. Meeting kayo, ano sila, wala, makakalimutan yon. But they rarely forget if their salary is incorrect. One of the most practical ways employers demonstrate respect is by paying employees accurately and on time. And during Dole inspection, this actually receives a significant attention. Inspectors typically review minimum wage compliance, holiday pay, overtime pay, night shift differential, rest day compensation, SIL or service incentive leaves, payroll registers, pay slips, and timekeeping records. So usually your payroll has to be ready with all these documents. Now, let me ask something. Let me ask everyone something. Have you ever discovered a payroll mistake after salaries have been released? Thumbs up if you have, or thumbs down if you don't. Ayan, di ba? We have experienced that. And honestly, yes, yes. So, and most of us are going to experience this one way or another because mistakes happen. We're only human, but recurring mistakes become liabilities. Let me illustrate. Suppose an employee receives 150 less overtime per pay period. Somebody might think, it's 150, right? Small amount. But imagine every pay period, that's 150 pesos. 24 pay periods in 1 year. 5 years of employment, then multiply that to 30 employees. I'm really bad at math, but you will know what initially was a very small amount becomes thousands of pesos worth of liabilities. This is why payroll accuracy matters. Payroll errors are not often intentional. Perhaps there was a change. Perhaps someone just forgot to update the payroll software, or they just made a mistake. The reason matters, but from an employee's perspective, the result even matters more. One payroll error can damage years of employee trust. It is always encouraged for HR and payroll team to perform periodic payroll audits, review overtime computations, verify holiday rates, and confirm wage or current wage orders. Cross-check attendance policies with payroll. So you have to do this honestly quarterly. Remember, payroll is not merely an accounting function. It is the payroll is one of the clearest reflection of your organizational integrity. Pag nagkakamali ang payroll, there's an issue. There's a bigger issue that usually that happens. So speaking of payroll, another area that employees closely monitor, and it's related to this, is government mandated contributions. Who has been working here for more than 2 decades or a decade more already? Raise your hand. Thumbs up if you have. Walang umami sa edad. Oh, yan, meron. Marami tayo. Remember, before, kailangan natin pumunta sa SSS office. Hahanapin natin yung SSS office natin, PhilHealth office, and saka yung isa, Pag-ibig, para lang makuha yung ating list of contributions or para mag-file kayo ng documents. Yes, Gen Zs have no longer experienced this. Actually, these days, it's so easy to check your contribution. Employees can check that easily. Yung SSS, you have to log in. PhilHealth, Pag-ibig, all online. You can even get the process parang, oh, nasa na yung contribution last month. I remember before, there was a time na tawag dito, when we were trying to apply for a loan, magko-consolidate pa kami, magre-request kami ng consolidation, yung messenger namin pupunta sa multiple sites ng Pag-ibig para lang makuha yung contributions mo. Lalo na pag matagal na nagtatrabaho at multiple jobs na. So now it's so easy. They can verify their contribution. They can even check their loan eligibility and monitor the remittances real time. So if those deduction does not appear under those deduction that appear in their payslip, but not in the website, suspicion and questions arise quickly. So building trust, like I said, building employee trust takes years to build, but losing them usually just takes them one payroll cycle. So every employer should ensure timely compliance with the SSS, PhilHealth, Pag-ibig, and BIR withholding tax. And this does not remitting. We should also be mindful of their loans. Of course, we should be, making sure that those are all contributed. Yeah. Because we all know, anong mangyayari pag na-delay? There are interest. And not even just interest, penalties. And of course, employee complaints. And what we're trying to be ready, regulatory investigations. So mahirap yun pag nagkaroon ng regulatory investigations when it comes to the employee benefits. Kasi bubusisiin nila lahat ng monthly, ng contributions ninyo, and you will have to print out a lot of documents. I once assisted a company where the employees believed management actually had failed to remit the government contributions. But after investigation, when we were looking at it, they were all remitted. Nagkaroon lang ng core communication because nagkaroon ng delay sa posting ng website. Sipin mo yung nagka-delay lang sa website. They were already calling out to Dole. Because management has not explained the situation, employees assume the worst. So communication, therefore, is also a part of compliance. Transparency prevents unnecessary conflict. And I also encourage employers to conduct periodic reconciliation. You compare your payroll deduction with remittances report. Confirm that employee records match government records. You can do this quarterly or whenever there is a chance to do so. Kasi syempre depende yan sa needs ng business. Small discrepancies become much easier to correct when they are discovered early. Mas maliit ang penalty pag isang buwan lang ang nag-delay. Diba? Paalala lang natin. Compliance is not simply paying government agencies. It is ensuring that every employee receives the benefits to which they are legally entitled. So finally, let's discuss a compliance area that has become increasingly important, not only to Dole, but for every responsible employer. Safety. Next slide, please. Ayan. So, one more. Yeah. So, allow me to begin with a statement many of you have probably heard before. Safety does not happen by accident. Simple, yet profoundly true. The occupational safety and health is no longer treated as an optional management initiative. It is now a legal obligation. I believe some of you HR here, those who are working in the bigger companies, you've heard of the rules that, if there's 50 employees, you need to have a nurse. Or if you have 100 and more or 200 employees, you need to have a doctor. Those are things that are. Have you heard of the safety officer? If you have 200 or less employee, you need to have assigned safety officer. If you have more than 200 and above, you need to have a trained and certified um, full-time safety officer. And for every 1,000 employee, you need to have one additional. Yeah. And this changes depending, of course, on your industry. Yeah. So many employers associate workplace safety only for construction and factories, but actually safety applies to every workplace. Yeah, yeah. So SOT, guys. Yeah, let me see the Miss Leonora. Yeah. So imagine, like offices, retail establishment, restaurants, hospitals, schools, and warehouse. Hmm. That's a good question. Let's answer that later. So even from from home arrangements, raise safety consideration. Let me ask everyone: if an employee suddenly collapse in your workplace today, who knows what to do? Who is your designated first aider? Where is your first aid kit? Who contacts emergency responders? uh, who prepares the incident report? If no one immediately knows the answers to these questions, there is uncertainty. That uncertainty itself present a risk. So employers should always maintain a designated safety officer, first trained first aiders, an emergency response plan, fire safety procedures, accident investigation report, risk assessment, training records, and safety committee documentation. Now, one experience was been very vivid when I was still starting out. I was very young. There was a workplace accident. It was a construction business. Somebody got electrocuted. So when we went there, of course, the 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 foreman assured us that we're documented, we prepared for the safety. So the safety officer was there explaining things to the inspectors, and of course, they requested the documentation. That's where the problem arises because training records were not located. The risk assessment, it was an incomplete checklist. The drills have not been documented. Perhaps there was safety activities, but again, the absence of records weakened the company's position. Remember our principle earlier at start. If it isn't documented, it didn't happen. Albert Einstein once remarked, learn from yesterday, live for today, and hope for tomorrow. The important thing is not questioning. So every workplace incident should prompt an important questions. What happened? Why did it happen? And how can we prevent it from happening again? Those questions build stronger organization. Safety is not about avoiding inspection. Safety is about ensuring that every employee goes home to their families in the same condition which they arrive at work. And if we can achieve that, compliance becomes much more of a legal obligation. It becomes an expression of responsible leadership. So far, we have discussed the foundation of labor compliance. There is employment contracts, employee handbooks, the payroll compliance, government dated benefits, and of course, occupational safety and health. Now, these are the pillar of every employer should have in for an inspection. However, compliance does not end there. Some businesses have additional obligations depending on the industry. size, or operation. In the next part of our masterclass, we'll explore those special compliance requirements. Okay, so next slide, please. Yeah, special Dolly registration. Now that we've discussed the basic compliance um, requirements applicable to almost every employee, let's move on to something many business owners overlook. Now, excuse not all businesses are regulated the same way. One biggest mistake that we encounter is employers saying, "Hey, my friend's company doesn't have that requirement," di ba? So hindi na naman siguro kailangan yun. Unfortunately, labor compliance doesn't work that way. The nature of your business determines many of your legal obligations. As businesses grow, diversify, or change of operation, the compliance also evolves with it. For example, if your business starts hiring foreign nationals, your obligation immediately expand. If you start contracting work for another company, new regulations apply as well. So if your operations involve hazardous chemicals or construction activities, the requirements become much more stricter. Compliance is therefore not static. It grows together with your organization. Now, I'd like to share a real situation. I have a friend that is a growing logistics company. Initially, they had one warehouse, 20 employees. As the business expanded, it opened additional site and hired more personnel. So management remained focused on operation and sales. Understandable. That's where the money is, right? However, no one paused to ask an important questions. Have our legal obligation changed as our business have grown? When Dole later inspected one of the sites, of course, management discovered that they have several compliance requirements applicable to their expanded operation that have never been implemented. One is OSH because they had more than 200 employees already. And they have grown it and operationally. Business have grown. Unfortunately, their compliance system had not grown with them. So I encourage every business owner or any HR to remember this. Every major decision should trigger a compliance review. Opening a new branch, hiring more employees, engaging contractors, introducing new equipment, hiring foreign workers, expanding production. Each of these developments may bring new legal responsibilities. Ayan. So let's look at some examples of this special registration and compliance requirements. Next slide, please. Yeah. So, so a lot of employers will actually ask me, yeah, Yurim, can you just give us a checklist? Very easy, di ba? Yes, the government does give out a checklist. Unfortunately, there is no universal compliance checklist. Different industries have different requirements. Some include establishment reports for newly established businesses. I can see there, Rule 1020. Of course, the OSH program or the Occupational Safety and Health programs. The contractor or the subcontractor registration. This is Dole 174. Of course, the alien employment permits or the AEPs. The recruitment like agency license or the PEA, and the kasambahay compliance as well. There are, of course, construction safety requirements and hazardous workforce compliance. The important lesson here is not to memorize every registration. You can get a checklist in the internet with our government agencies. Instead, ask the right questions. What industry are we in? What activities do we perform? What laws apply specifically to our operations? Businesses grow responsibly, invest not only in sales and operation, but also in governance. Established sustainable growth requires sustainable compliance. So this naturally brings us to another important principle. Compliance should always be tailored to your business. Next slide, please. Ayan. Imagine three companies, a software company, a restaurant, and a construction firm. Would you expect all to have identical compliance requirement? Of course not. The software company may focus heavily on data privacy, work from home policies, and other tech related requirements. The restaurant emphasizes on sanitation, scheduling, wage compliance, and food safety because there's sometimes a small business does not have to pay certain amounts. Construction companies also have extensive occupational safety regulations and permits. So each organization faces different risks. So Tony Robbins once observed, the quality of your life dependent is determined by the quality of your questions. I would say the same about organization. Company that regularly ask what laws applies to us now are usually much better prepared than companies that assume yesterday's compliance is sufficient for tomorrow. One practical recommendation I give clients is to conduct an annual physical compliance review. Not because Dole requires it, but because business evolves and compliance should evolve with them. So, what question should every employer ask? Let's discuss a simple assessment. Next slide, please. And so, every employer should ask at least once a year when you gather your management team, yung ano na natin, di ba? Leadership training, leadership seminar, or yung end of year preparation. You ask this question: what industry are we still in? Are we have our operations changed? Have we opened new locations? Have we increased our workforce? And have we introduced new business activities? And now, do we require additional permits or registrations? Sometimes the most expensive compliance failures occur simply because nobody asked these questions. Business environment change, labor regulations evolve, and technology advances. Employees expect these expectations increase. If employers relying on outdated HR system, they usually are exposed themselves to unnecessary risks. So good organization periodically asks difficult questions before the inspector asks them first. So now let's examine what inspector most frequently discover during labor inspections. Next slide, please. Ayan. So whenever people imagine labor inspection, they often picture major violations. Diba? Surprisingly, that's actually very rare. Most of the time, it's minor findings. Many inspections involves ordinary administrative deficiencies. A lot is missing contracts, unsigned acknowledgement, incomplete 201 files, missing payslips, payroll computation errors, outdated records, and incomplete documentation. I think most of us have heard of this saying from George Santayana. Those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it. Every inspection finding, whether in your organization or another company, should become a lesson. The encouraging news is this: most inspection findings are preventable. The issue is rarely intentional misconduct. More often, it's inadequate preparation. My dad once told me, and this is something I live by, is that it is wise to learn from your mistake, and it is wiser to learn from the mistake of others. I think he got it from someone else, but that he always tried to impart that knowledge to me. So when I conduct HR audits, I frequently tell management, I would rather discover these problems today than have Dolly discover them till tomorrow. Internal audits should never be viewed as criticism. They are opportunities. Every issue you identify internally is one less issue an inspector may identify later. That is why proactive compliance always costs less than reactive compliance. Speaking of costs, next slide, please. Oh, one more. I know. Slide 16. Yeah, it's over. So we've spent time talking about prevention. Now let's discuss what happened when prevention fails. I want to begin with a simple question. What do you think is the most expensive labor law violation? What do you think? You can post it in the chat if you want. Yeah. So while everyone's thinking, some people would say yes, legal dismissal, underpayment, yeah, or occupational accidents, safety issues, yes, and no business permit, reputational damage, yes, yeah, all of them, yes, these are all costly. But in my experience, honestly, the most expensive violation is the one that could have been prevented. Because best Benjamin Franklin once said, an investigation in knowledge pays the best interest. I would add that investment in compliance pays even greater dividends. Many employers look at compliance at an expense. Alam natin yan, di ba? Parang, oh, may training na naman. Di ba? Or, ano na naman, gastos yan. That's all we can hear sometimes. Training costs money, safety equipment costs money, HR software costs money. Hiring auditors, hiring lawyers, they all cost money. So a lot of times we postpone this investment. Then one day a complaint is filed, a labor case, a legal dismissal, no business permit. A labor inspection is now conducted. Compliance order is issued. Sena. Suddenly, the company spends far more than it would have spent on prevention. Let's talk about the hidden cost first. Most employers think it's about penalties. It's paying the penalty, diba? But penalties are only the beginning. Consider what really happens after a serious labor case like illegal dismissal. First, management's attention shifts away from the business. Instead of focusing on sales, growth, customer service, our leaders are now spending time preparing documents, attending SENA conferences, responding to notices, and meeting with lawyers. HR becomes overwhelmed. Payroll records are now being reviewed. Personal files are being reconstructed. Managers are interviewed, and the employees become anxious. And of course, rumors now spread to the workplace. The productivity declines, morale suffers. Even customers sometimes notice when internal problems begin affecting operation. Then there are the other financial costs, legal representation, administrative expenses, claims, back wages, interest, separation pay, corrective measure, and additional compliance program that the government wants us to have. The expenses continue long after the inspection ends. So compliance is doing the right thing before someone tells you to. So I'd like to share a story. Several years ago, I have a friend who told me, "Hey, Yerem, I didn't think I need to spend money updating my HRIS. But after a labor dispute that lasted more than a year, she smiled and said, Hey, I wish I had spent that money earlier." That sentence stayed with me because prevention always costs less than the correction. So whenever management asks us HR, di ba, how much will compliance cost? How much will it cost? I encourage you to ask them a different question. How much will it cost us for non-compliance? That question always often changes this conversation. Fortunately, becoming compliant doesn't always require massive, investment. Sometimes it simply requires asking the right question on a regular basis. Next slide, please. Yeah. So one of the simplest tool every organization can implement is a regular compliance checklist. Think of your organization as an annual physical examination. Like I said earlier, doctors, you don't wait until you're sick you before recommending checkups. Likewise, HR should not wait until Dole arrives before reviewing compliance. Management expert W. Edward Deming is often credited with saying, "Inspect what you expect." If leaders expect compliance, leadership must regularly verify compliance. I encourage organization to conduct a quarterly HR audit, hindi yung ano. So not because someone told you to, but because good organization evaluate themselves before the inspectors do. Ask yourself, such as, does every employee have a signed employment contract? Are your personal file complete? Are payroll records updated? Are attendance records accurate? Have government contribution been properly remitted? Are leaves records complete? Are disciplinary actions documented? Have all employees acknowledged the employee handbook? Are safety officers designated? Are safety documents current? Yet notice something important. None of these questions are complicated, yet they prevent most of the many common inspection findings. One HR director once shared to me something. Said, every quarter we pretend that Dolly will arrive tomorrow. Instead of imagine the confidence that will create. Instead of panic, there is preparation. Instead of scrambling, there is organization. Instead of uncertainty, there is confidence. Another recommendation I always make is this: don't conduct compliance audit alone. Invite other supervisors in other departments. Payroll, finance, operations, safety officers, compliance is everyone's responsibility. When different departments review compliance together, they often identify issues that HR alone may not notice. Remember, the objective of an audit is not to find fault. It is to find opportunities for improvement. The earlier the problems are discovered, the easier they are to correct. However, checklists alone will never create a lasting compliance. Compliance ultimately depends on something much deeper. I think that was mentioned earlier today, and that is culture. Next slide, please. There is a significant difference between being compliant and having a culture of compliance. A compliant company prepares the documents. A company with a compliance culture naturally produces them because good practices have become part of their everyday work. Albert Schweitzer once said, example is not the main thing influencing others. It is the only thing. Employees pay close attention to leadership. If managers ignore policies, employees will notice. If supervisors bypass procedures, employees will notice. And if leaders expect employees to follow the rules that management itself ignore, employees will notice. Culture always begins at the top. Let me ask everyone here, who do you think creates your organization culture? You can answer in the chat. Give 10 seconds to answer. Who creates your organization culture? Mhm. Okay. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah. So, okay, good. I'm happy that we are actually on the same page. A lot of people before will always say HR. No, my answer is different. Leadership, top management creates culture. HR supports it. Policies reinforce it. Management demonstrate it. And employees experience it. Culture is reflected in small everyday decisions. Does management consistently document disciplinary action? Do supervisor approve overtime according to policy? Do managers attend safety meetings? Do executive follow attendance procedure? Employees observe these behaviors every day. Mahatma Gandhi once said, be the change that you wish to see in the world. If leaders want accountability, they must demonstrate accountability. If leaders want documentation, they should document consistently. If leaders want professionalism, they must model professionalism. Building a culture of compliance also means encouraging communication. Employees should feel comfortable asking questions, reporting concerns, clarifying policies, and seeking guidance. Organization with healthy communication often resolves issues internally before they become formal complaints. Remember, employees do not expect perfection. They expect fairness, transparency, respect, and consistency. When those values become a part of your organizational culture, labor compliance becomes much easier. And that brings me to my final message for today. But if you are to remember nothing else from this masterclass, remember the next few points. Next slide, please. And as we conclude today's masterclass, I'd like to return to the question I asked at the beginning. Imagine this scenario. It's 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. Your receptionist calls you. She says, "Sir, ma'am, Dole inspectors are here." What would be your first reaction? Would you smile and say, "Please welcome them"? Or would your heart begin beating faster? Would someone immediately start searching for contracts? Would payroll begin printing records? Would supervisors suddenly remember incomplete documentation? Your answer to that question honestly reflects your organization's current level of preparedness. So before I end, let me summarize 5 principles that I hope to bring back to your organization. First, compliance protects people before it protects business. Labor laws exist because every employee deserves dignity, fairness, and safe working conditions. When we comply with the law, we strengthen trust. Second, documentation is our second strongest defense. Never rely solely on memory. Never rely solely on verbal instruction. Write it down, document it, maintain it. Because if it isn't documented, it becomes difficult to prove. Third, consistency is just as important as compliance. So, prevention is less expensive than litigation. Policies should be applied to everyone. Fairness builds credibility, and selective enforcement destroy it. Four, um, prevention is HR. Compliance is everyone's responsibility. It's not just HR, not just legal, not just payroll. Every supervisor, every manager, every inspection. And number 5 is be inspection ready every day. So we can create an inspection ready workplace, not the night before an inspection. We create them every day. Every employment contract we prepare, every payroll we review, every attendance record we update, every handbook acknowledgement we secure. Those are everyday decisions that build compliant organization. And I'd like to leave you with another quotation from Maya Angelou. Do the best you can until you know better. Then when you know better, do better. Today we know better. So beginning tomorrow, let's do better. So every employee contributes to a compliant workplace. Thank you very much.
So
Yeah.
thank you so much for that wonderful discussion, Sir Uriam. So we're getting a lot of heart and applause react. So I think most of our participants found your words helpful. Hopefully that's true. And of course, um, this is not the last you'll be seeing of Sir Uriam because our next portion is the Q&A portion. So I'll be, of course, asking questions from the registration form that you guys filled up. And also, as I've mentioned, there is a Q&A button in the Zoom. And at the same time, you can also send in your questions via the Zoom chat box. Okay, so in relation to, of course, Dole, I think this is one of the, or a lot of the questions have revolved around this topic. So there's a question here, sir, paano po if the employee, may employee na dumiretso sa Dole without going through HR first? What is the first thing that the HR team should do once nalaman na namin may complaint?
So actually that's pretty common. You don't have to worry. That's actually a pretty common experience na most employees will go directly. Isa nga nag-uusap kayo, bigla na lang kinabukasan, nasa Dole, may email ka na from Dole. So pag ganyan ang nangyari, of course, review first the complaint. Kasi madalas, it's very easy to resolve a lot of issues with the communication. So set a meeting with the employee. Of course, it has to be in a very safe environment. get the supervisor and your what do you call this? Your HR should be there as well. Of course, it's again, make it a private meeting. No one, it should, it should be private and secure, and it has to be safe. Now, get to know or get all the facts, and after that, document it. And then, of course, we will use the proper and the procedure, depending on your policies. So first, get the fact. Oh, next question.
Okay, so thank you for that. Hopefully, the respondent found that answer useful. The next question is, during a dollar inspection, is it okay to be honest and say that we have documents that are incomplete and are currently being corrected, or will that be a bigger issue for Dole?
Honestly, I always recommend telling the truth. Kasi pag nagsinungaling tayo at wala yung document at hiningi sa atin, mas malaki yung problema yun. Normally, when there's a DOLE inspection, pag may kulang, they will give you time to correct it. So, ang bibigay nila lang, humingi kayo ng ample time. Sometimes, bibigyan kayo ng a week or two before the violation. Kasi minsan, you really have to go to their office and prove to them, hey, we're already compliant. Kasi there are instances that they actually do get. Kunyari, wala yung HR manager and she's the only one that has access to certain documents. Oh, wala yung payroll natin ngayon. Kasi nga, work from home sila. So we don't have those records. So they do give us time for you to produce those documents.
Okay. Actually, it's good that you mentioned that because one of the other questions here is that usually if Dole finds something after the inspection, are we given a chance to comply, or
Mhm.
are we automatically required, like may penalty na ba agad?
No. They are giving you a time to produce all those documents. It's understandable,
Okay,
especially
so that's good to
there
hear.
is that. Okay.
Okay. Okay, so that's great. So everyone should not worry. And worst comes to worst, call us, we can help you.
Yes,
Okay,
actually, we do.
yung next question is, what are the common mistakes that HR does during a DOLE inspection? Like things na ginagawa namin thinking na makakatulong pero actually mas nagiging risky.
Okay. One thing is covering what do you call this? Covering up for something that you're not compliant with. I will tell you this, maraming nagsinungaling kasi meron kami niyan. We just don't have it. And then you're saying, of course, sabihin na, sige, can you do it send it to me by tomorrow. I'll give it to the office. OSH training yun. Di ba? Yung wala kayo. So, of course, you cannot have the training in one day, tapos kinabukasan. So, be honest with that one. Don't lie if you do not have that documentation. Yan ang pinaka-importante. Also, when it comes to that, sabihin ko sa inyo, please do not try to bribe any DOLE inspector. There have been instances na lalong lumala yung problem because of that. And napakasimple lang nung issue nila. Wala lang yung payroll na hindi lang na-prepare. So imagine nagka-problema pa sila because they tried to burn. Okay?
Okay, so thank you for that, Sir Yurim. Actually, we're getting a lot of questions, which we love, and we're gonna try our best to entertain as much as we can. So in the Zoom chat box, a pattern that I'm seeing being asked a lot is how many number of HR employees should we have relative to the number of employees that we have in the organization overall. Like they're actually asking na, okay, how many HR employees do we need for 200 plus employees? How much HR do we need for 55 employees? So they have input regarding that.
Okay. Now, that depends on the complexity. In the BPO industry, it was 1 HR personnel per 200. Si PPO yon. Now, it depends on certain industries. Minsan, mas maliit yung number. I've heard where there were complicated financial issues. 1:50. Now, in your industry, kung construction yan, madalas, since a lot of things are manual, I recommend a smaller amount, like 1:100. Now, again, depends on your company, the size of your company as well, and the complexity of the business. Okay?
Okay, in relation to that, so that's HR. How about, so medyo ano siya, outside, well, still HR, but more on the finance accounting na. How about payroll? Like, I've also been seeing questions here na in terms of payroll, if for example you have 200 plus employees, ilang
Mhm.
payroll kaya kailangan for that?
That's actually a pretty good question. The thing that's important is what tool are you using for payroll? Kasi if you do have a tool, honestly, less than five employees, if you have 200 employees, one or two can do it if you have a payroll system like Sprout. Kasi honestly, I can do the payroll of Sprout quite easy kung may system tayo. But if you don't have a system, sabihin ko sa inyo, it's fine.
Yeah, so shout out to one of our partners, Sprout. Really something that we recommend kasi this is like a genuine ano siya, like feedback in relation to that question and what Sir Yuri mentioned. But in Sprout kasi like everything is there. So before, I think, remember, we used to do it manually when we're requesting something like pag magfa-file ng leave or like OT. But ever since there's Sprout, like mabilis na lang siya kasi you could just file it on the website, yeah, on the platform, and then it's there like instantaneously. So ayun, yeah, I agree, it really depends on the complexity of the work involved. So that's also something that we practice here at De Castro. Like, there's no, I mean, there's general tips and best practices, but it's hard to find one size fits all solutions sometimes. Like, really varies per case. So ayun. Okay. Another question here is, what if wala naman po kami naging labor case or DOLE complaint ever since? How do we know if compliant talaga kami or baka hindi pa lang talaga kami na-check?
Actually, that's a pretty good question. Like we discussed earlier, you have to ask questions. Create a scenario. If Dolly comes here tomorrow at magtanong sila ng document, are we ready? So, yung mga questions natin, for example, I'll keep it simple, employee handbook. Na-acknowledge ba lahat may signature ba, mayroon ba kayong acknowledgement from all your employees? Very simple list, di ba? Parang, it doesn't have to be complicated na, dapat may ganito. We have to comply for this ruling. No. Keep it simple first. Kasi usually, yun yung unang hinahanap. Kasi when you start not being compliant with the basics, that's where the more intensive investigation happens. Yun yung nangyayari. Okay?
Okay. Thank you so much for that, Sir Yurem. So, another question here. I'm going to refer to the Zoom questions. Again, one question here is, what is the average cost of non-compliance fines as well as the range from low end to high
I
end?
will tell you this. Per violation, it ranges from 20,000 to 100,000 pesos. And that's per violation. Some OSH violation will cost you at least 40,000 for non-compliance. Ganun siya. Kabigat. Okay?
Okay, how about this one? If a security agency fails to comply with the regulations to their security personnel, does the principal have liabilities to Dole?
Yes. Yeah, of course you have but the worst case is work stoppage. May stop of operation. That's the worst case that you actually have experience. Mhm.
Okay, how about when it comes to parang general compliance steps for those who are just starting out in HR. There's a
Mhm.
question here like, I was hired to do HR and admin side of a startup massage and spa. Any
Mm.
tips since I already built the company and employee handbook? So what's the next step? So
Ah,
for those who are starting out,
yeah.
ano
So
yung
actually, that's a
basics
pretty
that
good
they need to
question.
cover?
So that's a pretty good question. Since you already have the handbook, now the next best thing is to have it approved. And if you have that approved already by management, meron na sila in operations, have that have everyone have a training and then have everything acknowledged. Kasi again, sabi nga nila, yes, we have a handbook. Yeah, we're proud of this handbook. Pinaghirapan ko yan. Pero unless it's been shared and trained and explained and then acknowledged, it's as good as a document. It's as document na nasa laptop mo lang. Okay? So share have it approved, share it, have the necessary trainings for it, and then have it acknowledged. Mhm.
Okay. This one, I like this one kasi it also intersects with something that we do and with our last initiatives here at De Castro. Pero is a company required to appoint a DPO for Dole compliance? I know the answer there, but Sir Yuriam, go ahead.
Yes. There is especially I will tell you this, marami nagkakaproblema dahil hindi nila alam kung sino ang DPO officer nila. And especially if you are handling a lot of sensitive information, if you have a lot of clients, especially as financial, ang laking requirement.
Yes, ayun. So, and not just for DOLE compliance, but also for the NPC compliance kasi they do privacy sweeps, right? And
Mhm.
we're very big on data privacy here at De Castro Consulting as well, and we just wrapped up our DPO certification course.
Mhm.
What Attorney Arlene usually says to us is, if you're an HR, you're not just handling employee information. Like, yung data ng employees, hawak mo yung buhay nila. So, you need to know how to manage them well. Okay, so thank you for that. Another common theme regarding the questions are like related to leaves. So, when it comes to leaves, how do we determine what's convertible to cash and what's not? Is that something that we can impose as employers na strict non-convertible to? Or do the employees have the right to demand na for cash conversions from their leaves?
Okay. So there are yung convertible to cash is actually by law there is only a few that is actually convertible. Yung mandated. One is the SIL. That 5 days is convertible to cash. Yeah. So the other one I believe is not even daw pala the solo parent is no longer convertible. I had to double check as I remember before there was a company that offered it, but the only one that's mandatory by the government is the SIL. Those 5 days. Okay, the rest discretion ng company.
Okay, okay. So that's hopefully that addresses most of the questions that they have. How about kasi when it comes to leaves, I think hindi lang naman po VLs and SLs yung forms of
Mm-mm.
leaves. Like there are companies that issue like types of leaves that are specific to their companies. So for
Yeah.
that, discretion, same question. Discretion ba ng company
Yeah.
if it's convertible to cash, or does the employee have the right to demand?
Yeah, there are others that are not technically leaves, but yeah, actually they are like maternity that's
Mhm.
paid by the SSS. The Magna Carta for women, yes, those are actually paid leaves as well, but they're not convertible to cash. Take note that they're paid leaves, but they're not convertible. Okay,
Okay,
so in
so
the case na parang si mommy nag-leave siya ng yung 110 days niya, ginawa niyang 50 days kasi na-bore siya sa bahay. For sa ano, di ba? Hindi ko convert yung 60 days na leave niya to cash.
Mm.
Okay?
Okay. Just a minor one. Do quit claims need po ba talagang naka-notarize?
Actually, I'll be honest with you, hindi siya required na notarize. But it does give an extra protection for the company. Kasi if the document is questioned, there is the notarization.
Mhm. How about the
That's
employee
the
contract?
important. Yes, it's again. It is not required that it is notarized, but it gives an extra layer of protection. Hindi po,
Mm,
sorry,
okay.
Jana, hindi ako attorney na.
Yeah, to clarify, Sir Hernandez,
Clarify
this is
lang
not
guys.
an attorney. This is not legal advice, but it is expert advice from someone who's been working in the industry for over, I want to say decades. Pero
Yes, yes.
yeah,
Has
totoo
been two
naman.
decades since I've been working.
Decades. Okay. Okay. So another question that we have here is, I think, related to culture and conflict. There's a question here that revolves around a boss saying foul words or like accusing employees many times. Anong ground daw ang pwede ilaban sa kanya? Like,
Ah,
or just like general, like in addition to that question, when leadership is being difficult, or when yeah, a manager or a superior officer is acting in that way, anong intervention yung need gawin ng HR, and how do they execute it?
okay. Usually if it's a boss that actually does that, we go to the boss of the boss. Siyempre, di ba, that's usually the due process of it. We report it to the higher up, regarding the behavior of your superior. Yan yung boss mo yan. We go to the manager. The supervisor, we go to the manager. And then of course, you have to the HR has to make sure that the investigation is normally um, fair and of course quick. And of course, there should be a protect assurance to the employees that there will be no retaliation. Especially kasi this is a common problem. Siyempre, pag boss mo na yung may violation, you will have fear what will happen to you. So it does have to go through that process. And of course, there is I know some of you have heard of this, and have done it quite regularly, is preventive suspension. Because if this is a case, the involved parties might be needed to be under preventive suspension to make sure that the investigation is impartial and it protects all parties.
Okay. Hopefully that helps to whoever asked the question.
Mhm.
There's another one here that I think is also a good question, but it's very wordy, so I'll try my best to get through it well. In terms of compliance gaps, what are the specific legal risks and audit vulnerabilities for an organization when a supervisor instructs a person to work for a month without a signed contract, and then abruptly tells them to stop working without pay? If HR refuses to issue a certificate of service or attendance records to hide this setup, does that act of refusal safely protect the employer, or does it aggravate liability by exposing the organization to a labor and administrative dispute and a COA money claim?
Yeah, it actually does expose the business, especially if there are records or proof that he has been working. Honestly, emails lang ng instruction. Remember, guys, the burden of proof always falls under the employer, not the employee. Why? Because it's always assumed that the employers or are have more access to documentations rather than the employee itself. So when that happens, the burden of proof falls under the business, not the employee.
Mm.
Okay. So
Okay.
that is actually a very major
Yeah.
liability. Kasi sasabihin nga, bakit hindi mo ginawa yan? Bakit walang proof?
Yeah.
Diba?
Yeah. And actually, reading the question itself, it seems like may knowledge yung nag-asong question na this might be questionable already. So I
Yeah,
think that's
the mere fact
already,
na gano'n yun, na walang
yeah,
contract, that's a mere ano, na, question.
yeah. Um, I think in relation to that scenario, that question as well, I think how do we bridge the gap like as HR? Um, syempre there are requirements that needs to be fulfilled. We need to take care of certain legalities and such. How do we bridge the gap in like compliance and communication sa leadership? Kasi leadership might not always be supportive of that type of work that the HR does or baka minamaliit nila yung HR. Parang that's also a common theme that we've been seeing with our participants in the previous master classes.
Ah,
So,
mhm.
when it comes to bridging that gap, how do you recommend they go
Ah,
around it?
because that's actually a very important. Kasi remember, some businesses sees HR as a liability. Reklamo na naman yung reklamo na naman yung HR,
Yeah.
ano ba yan? Hindi na nga wala na, gastos ka na nga lang, nagdadagdag ka pa ng problema. I think that's the mindset that we need to change with and how we present HR. We need to present HR as a part of the decision making of the business growth. We have to tell, no, we have to be more active. We're not just going to be reactive. When we actually do present that, is for compliance. Remember the one I said to you, kasi madalas na tanong yung magkano yan. Diba? Yan yung madalas na tanong eh, magkano yung HRIS na yan na gusto mong i-implement? Gastos yan eh, di ba? Pwede mo naman gawin yan eh. Pwede mo na Excel. But you have to say, if we don't use this, magkano yung gagastusin natin sa penalties? Magkano yung gagastusin natin sa back wages? Magkano yung gagastusin natin sa lawyer pag umabot na sa SENA yan o sa NLRs? That actually that's the way ano eh, that's way to look at it. Um, you're not thinking na it's gastos now, but what prevention what expense how can I prevent it? What damages can I have prevented if I have done this now?
Mm. Okay, so hopefully that's helpful to all of you. The next question is, I think this is more on the tech side na.
Mhm.
Tech and digital side, yung transition to digital. So our company is mostly paperless and all of our documentation is in a cloud platform. Is this
Mm.
acceptable to Dole?
Yes, actually, they just sometimes they would just ask for a soft copy of your document and they'll give you the email naman to where you can send it. Most of the time though, pag medyo malaki na yung violation, you have to start printing. Okay?
Mm,
Mas
okay.
madali na yun kaysa dun sa hahanapin mo yung... Actually, I really recommend a lot of the HRIS system because you can actually download things already. And I believe, I think Sprout also actually, you can actually download the details of the information that you need for your client. So that's just one example. So it's a lot easier if you're purely digital. Okay? When it comes to producing documents. Kasi wala ka
Okay.
nang hahanapin, nasan si ganyan? Di ba nasa kanya yung docs?
Mm. Okay, so I think pro digitalization, Dole is amenable to those naman.
Yes, they are very prominent.
How about are there any documents naman po na hindi kailangan hard copy talaga?
Hmm. Recently, there are certain documents that are required to have a wet signature.
Mm.
Okay? Affidavits, certain documents. I think sa AEP, they do require certain documents to be wet signature. Okay, then this is when you have a foreign employee in your company. Now, Dolly will tell you naman if those are they're requiring wet signature. But based yung sinabi ko kanina, those do not require a wet signature. Though you
Yeah.
can do all of
Mm.
the digital.
in the cloud platform or digitally. Okay. So thank you po for that. Next naman, I think I'd like to delve into questions related to termination, preventive suspension. So first is when an employee is consistently underperforming, but the supervisor continues to protect or tolerate the employee despite HR mediations and guidance.
Ah, yeah, I saw that question. No? So if the employee is underperforming, you might have to escalate that to the upper management. Remember, the important thing here is to document the underperformance. Why were you able to document this underperformance? Kasi, again, you can honestly say, oh, hindi siya nagpa-perform. Dole will always ask, where was the documentation? Has the employee been given a chance to improve? And has he or she knows about this or acknowledged this? There are cases na hindi ina-acknowledge yan ng employee. That's why normally, I'll give you a tip on that one. If they don't acknowledge any document that you give, especially in terms of violations or reprimand, you need to find two people there and say, hey, we will say that the employee refused to sign or acknowledge this document. Refusing to acknowledge does not mean it didn't happen. Okay, so that's why again you need to have two other individuals sign the document.
Okay, thank you po for that. The next question that I have is more related to tips or performance improvement plans. So, generally, when do we give a pep or how long should it last? And at the same time, after the pep, when can we terminate the employee if ever?
Okay. When can we give a PIP? Again, if he has the employee has been failing to meet the company standards, you can immediately give them a PIP. But again, PIP should be properly documented and it has to be realistic. It has to have smart. It has to be specific. It has to be there should be a metric. It should be attainable, realistic, and time bound. So you need to have all of that for a PIP. And normally, I recommend the three strike rule. Anyway, have recommended the three strike. That gives you kasi enough protection from Dole to say that, hey, we gave this employee a chance as well. Normally, PIP should not last more than 3 months, depending on, again, it really depends on the position and what's the reason why you're giving them that a PIP. Kasi if it's something that's achievable in 1 month, okay, go ahead, 1 month. But if it's realistically hindi ma-achieve yan in 1 month, you have to give more time.
Okay, thank you po for that. Hopefully that helps since meron yung mga PIP related questions.
Mm.
The next question is more on the topic of termination.
Mhm.
So, how do we go around termination? Like when is it just and when is it flagged by Dole? Kasi
Okay.
it's a touchy subject for Dole.
Yeah, I know. So there are two reasons to terminate an employee. There is just cause, and the other one is operational. Just cause is this is usually the violations that is based on your employee handbook. There are things that Dolly has given us already, but it has to be based on your employee, your code of conduct. That's why employee handbooks are very important because that sets the rules for these kind of things. And the next thing that you have to consider is you have to make sure that the employee has been given due process. That's very important for Dole. Was there a chance for him or her to explain her side? Was there an investigation? Was there a hearing? All these questions are very important when terminating an employee due to just cause. In this case, after terminating, hindi tapos na yun ha. You have to file this with the Dole. There is a proper site where you can actually submit termination. It's been termination cases. And then, of course, if it's business operated like redundancy,
cessation of a client of a client or business or the other one technology, you need to be able to file it as well. And remember, guys, there are rules governing this kind of termination. Hindi dahil ayaw lang natin, i-redundate na natin yung tao. Okay? Hindi siya pwedeng ganon. There is a process for that. There are rules governing for that. Okay? Yeah.
Okay. I know we're already on the topic of termination, but
Mhm.
there is
Correct.
a question here. Okay, I'll ask this muna before the other one. This one is related to maternity, I think woman-related labor loss. When you're pregnant or if you're pregnant and you need to take 8 weeks of bed rest, can you be removed because you cannot do your job?
No, that is what the Magna Carta for women have actually done. Because especially if you have the proper documentation, you cannot be terminated due to pregnancy.
Okay, how can we strategically map our existing processes to ISO standards so that we avoid creating unnecessary bureaucracy?
ISO. Honestly, you should confer with an ISO implementer because we're the best person. Ang ano dyan is based on what I have experienced is with us trying to do an ISO compliance is a gap analysis. Kasi that will determine your map, your strategic map. Kasi ano bang kulang natin? Yun muna yung first question na talagang tinatanong when it comes to any ISO implementation or audit.
Okay, this one next question is related to again payroll, sorry. Our
Mhm.
company uses Google Sheet for manual payroll and we have
Mhm.
100 full-time employees and 300 part-timers. How many payroll employees and HR should we have since we are much more on part-time? And is it also necessary for us to give a certificate of employment to part-timers?
I see. So, honestly, again, pagdating sa ganito na manual, I see, yes, there might be a need for you to be able to have more employees. The reason for that is, sabihin ko na lang sa'yo dati noon, unang panahon. Ang approval ng payroll is usually 3 to 4 steps. May magagawa, may magda-double check and there's magti-triple check and then ma-approve lang before we actually do that. Kasi nga Excel. So it's really trickier if you're doing it manually. So yes, I actually it will make your lives easier if you go digital or get an HRIS like Sprout. And then for COE, for part-time, actually, yes, you should give them their COEs. It's one of their rights as an employee.
Okay.
Okay.
The next one is what are the most common pitfalls that overcomplicate the ISO implementation process for manufacturing firms and how can we proactively avoid them? More ISO related stuff na po to.
Okay. So kanina it was like, ano, no, parang, one thing that you really need to get pag ganito yung unnecessary is you really need to get someone who is certified to actually make implementations. Don't trust lang what you can get in the internet. I mean, that's really one of the pitfalls ka, di ba? Chat like GPT or yung AI natin. We need to get someone who is an expert on it. I know it's kind of, parang, oh, it's an expense, but it's a necessary expense because they did the training already when it comes to this kind of implementations.
Okay. Thank you po for that. So, as of now, I think that's all of the questions that we can accommodate, unfortunately. So we hate to cut this short, but we've been having the Q&A for a while now. But don't worry because if you have any other, it seems like a lot of you guys have questions. You can still talk to us. You can still consult with us because we actually offer free consultations for those of you who have questions like these. So this is not that you'll see of Urim. You can always book a free consultation with us. And, if you have any other questions, we have other sets of experts to help you, assist you, and accommodate you with some of your questions. So we also have payroll experts and those, of course, as a consulting firm that's legally backed, we also have a legal arm specifically capable of addressing some of your concerns. So I think you can find the link for booking a free consultation with us in the Zoom chat box, and you may make use of that in order to avail your free consultation with the Castro Consulting. It should also be flashed in the screen, so there's going to be a QR code that you can scan in order to book a free consultation with us. And if ever, you don't want to call with us, you can always reach us in our social media platforms. So there are some of you who I think it's your first time encountering the Castro Consulting. So hopefully this is a good introductory level to I think what we do as a firm. We specialize a lot in compliance. So anything compliance related, whether it's payroll compliance, HR compliance, we can assist you with that, or we can accommodate any questions you might have regarding that. And in terms of, reach, we've accommodated we have a diverse service portfolio, and we've accommodated companies across banking, finance, tech, BPO, and we've also catered to MSMEs, as well as organizations that are abroad or that are based in different countries through our EOR services. So we really know how to do this, or really versed in this line of work. So as I've mentioned, if you have any other questions, we really apologize that we can't accommodate all of them, but we want to. So feel free to ask questions in our page, in our email. Especially, I think you can also reach us at info@thecastroconsulting.ph. So you can email your questions there as well. All right, so I think we are close to wrapping up the session. Thank you so much again, Sir Urim, for your talk and for accommodating the questions sent in by the participants. So hopefully most of them will see you again or will talk to you again. You can always reach out to Sir Urim in his
Yeah.
email as well. I think
Yeah,
if
actually,
ever
yes.
you can send your email in the chat box
So
for
yeah,
those
I'll share my email.
questions.
So yes, there were some questions that we were not able due to time constraint.
Yeah.
If you want, you can email me in the group chat. I'll share the group the so you can actually email me your question and I'll try to answer them as quickly as possible. Okay?
Okay, so thank you so much again, Sir Uriam, for an incredibly insightful discussion. So I think I hope we can all walk away from this with additional knowledge, and hopefully you guys are equipped with insights that you can actually start applying as early as today, or since it's already Friday, sa Monday. So ayan. Of course, before we close, we want to also promote some of our other free services or upcoming events. So, since a lot of you guys here are HR practitioners, we already have the registration form for our next face-to-face event, which is a closed-door executives briefing for HR professionals and business owners. So this one is an exclusive event designed for, as I mentioned, those in HR, or those of you who are business leaders, or if you own a business. For the price of 699 pesos, you can access this event. But please do note that this event is a approval based. So you may, of course, but we encourage everyone to give their shot, register, because if ever, this will allow us to, of course, keep in touch with you in case we have other free resources that we feel like you guys will benefit from. So this event is really for those who want to understand how AI is reshaping leadership, workforce, and we'll be discussing real world AI risks, led by, of course, our experts and here at the Castro Consulting. And we'll also be inviting a lot of panelists or experts across different industries. So stay tuned for that, and we encourage you to register for that. It will be in September on site in Ortigas, Pasig City. Registration is now open, so we encourage everyone to sign up there. And of course, other than this, as I've mentioned, we offer free resources all the time. So, some of our free resources can be found in our masterclass hub. So you can scan that QR code and it will redirect you to a link where essentially you'll find everything that you need to know about the masterclass, what it is, why we do it, and this is my favorite section, of course, the free resources section. So in that section, you'll find a couple of free guidebooks when it comes to navigating through some of the real life issues or the real life uh, scenarios that you'll be faced with. So some of them are, as I've mentioned, related to data privacy. So someone asked a question regarding having a DPO. So if you want to know more about the Data Privacy Act, or if your company needs a DPO, that is a very good introductory level guidebook to know about the basics when it comes to our the Data Privacy Act of 2012. We also have, of course, the Strategic HR Leadership Blueprint, which is a guidebook to help you guys really turn HR into a competitive advantage. And of course, our latest guidebook, which I feel like will be very useful for all of you, because you guys also uh ha- you don't handle payroll, but I'm sure there's a lot of you who work closely with finance, accounting, compliance officers, who, because today we tackled all about Dole compliance. So that guidebook tackles BIR compliance. So these guidebooks have been reviewed and created by our expert lawyers and our expert professionals here at the Castro Consulting. So they were reviewed by our lawyers and our finance heads. So this is real life practical guidebooks that we're sure can help you when it comes to your business, and we're offering it for free, and all you have to do is fill up the form and it will be sent to your emails already. So we highly recommend that you check these resources out, the masterclass hub out, and you can also RSVP to our next masterclass in the post survey form. And of course, there are a couple of you guys here today. Although our pool is mostly comprised of HR professionals, but for those of you who are knowledge seekers, maybe freelancers or knowledge seekers that are students, we are fresh graduates. We are hiring for the positions flashed in the screen, or if you're looking to shift careers, you may send in your resume to Bernadette at thecastroconsulting.ph. So these are some of our open requisitions right now, and this is your opportunity to be a part of an organization that prioritizes growth, innovation, and meaningful business impact. All right, so I think that's everything that we need to get out of the way. If you have any more questions or concerns, you may feel free to reach out to us at our social media platforms. We're easily accessible. Um, To know more, you may simply reach out to the email flashed in the screen. Okay, and I think that closes everything. We can officially conclude by having you guys fill the post survey form. So, as I mentioned in the beginning of the session, it's required for you to fill up the post survey form to get your free e-certificate. So you may simply access the post survey form by scanning the QR code, and or the link is also chatted in the Zoom chat box. And as you're answering that, of course, I would like to formally close the masterclass by giving thanks and gratitude to everyone who made time, and encouraging everyone to keep in touch, because this is not the last masterclass that we will be organizing. And this is not the last time that we'll encounter you, because we offer a lot of these every month. So stay tuned for our next master classes and our next resources. And I hope to see you all soon, eventually. So thank you, everyone. Have a great day. Have a great weekend. And if you have any concerns, we're open.
Our topic for today is all about labor relations. Labor relations is indeed a very important topic. So I'm very happy today because I'm in the presence of professionals. And I'm also happy because I'm in the presence of fellow business owners, founders, and COOs. And also we have people who are knowledge seekers. Tip number 1, create a telecommuting policy for your employees. Ano ba tong telecommuting policy? What's important to note here is that wala dapat discrimination or wala dapat iniba sa terms and conditions of employment ng taong nagwo-work from home versus sa taong nasa office ninyo. Okay? That's the most salient feature of that law.
Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests, let me welcome Attorney Arlene D. Castro.
You need to set as an expectation from the start of employment the duties and responsibilities of the employee for it to be valid. If you provide all those to the employees, such as rewards and recognition, etc., then I doubt that you will ever need to have this labor relations management program for your employees. So thank you guys and have a great day.
Meet Linkit, your team's new sales tool that allows you to turn more people into customers. With Linkit, you can simply tap your Linkit to another person's phone to send them all your contact information instantly. Watch as your team's leads and sales skyrocket by up to 240% and save over 50% on calling card printing costs. Discover advanced Linkit features, such as our Exchange Contact feature, where you can also collect your client's contact information, rather than just sending them yours, and our offline feature that allows your Linkit to work, even without Wi-Fi. You can also use Direct Link to choose a specific link that others access directly after tapping your Linkit card. Toggled on and off from your dashboard for seamless connections. Awesome, right? Enjoy unlimited sharing for life, unlimited edits to your profile, and unlimited links on your profile. It's never been easier for your team to meet people and convert them into customers. Go to www.linkit.asia to get Linkit for your team today.
Came from a desire to create a practice that was more than just a legal service provider. I wanted to build a firm that was a true partner to our clients. I saw a need for a more personalized, empathetic approach to the law, one that focused on proactive counsel and long-term relationships rather than just reactive litigation. Our firm was built on the principle that the law should be an enabler of business and not an obstacle.
Our firm's core practice areas are corporate law, commercial law, intellectual property, and dispute resolution. Together, these disciplines form the pillars of modern business. By focusing on these interconnected fields, we deliver comprehensive support that empowers clients to navigate every stage of the business lifecycle with confidence.
We ensure our clients feel supported through a commitment to transparent communication and a personalized approach tailored to their case. From the very first consultation, we make sure to provide a clear roadmap of the legal process, we set realistic expectations, and we break down complex legal jargon so they would understand everything. Of course, this is very important in establishing rapport with our clients. We also assign a dedicated legal team to each client, so there is always someone who knows their case inside and out.
We collaborate based on a culture of shared knowledge and expertise, recognizing that no single lawyer can fully address all aspects of a complex case. In handling such matters, we maximize the specialized knowledge of different lawyers within the firm, whether in litigation, corporate law, taxation, labor, or regulatory compliance, so that each angle is thoroughly addressed.
We operate on three core values: integrity, empathy, and excellence. We believe in being honest and earning our clients' trust. We make sure to understand our clients' perspective so we can provide the best counsel. And we're committed to delivering a level of service that goes above and beyond.
I represented someone who had been with his company since the beginning. He spent years developing software, bringing in clients, and helping build the business from the ground up. He approached us because his company was pushing him out. They offered him only a fraction of what his shares were worth, and he was ready to accept it, not knowing any better. Now, with our intervention, we secured a settlement of up to 4 times the original offer. Today, he runs his own successful marketing business, a reminder that the right legal support can completely change the course of someone's future.
Adaptability is in our DNA. We stay ahead of the curve through continuous education and proactive engagement with the new legal and business trends.
We are focused on expanding our digital footprint and our expertise in high-growth areas like data privacy, cybersecurity, and AI law. The business landscape is evolving rapidly, and our goal is not only to keep pace, but to be at the forefront of these new legal frontiers. We will continue to invest in our team and technology to ensure that we can provide the most forward-thinking, comprehensive legal support to our clients for the years to come. At the Castro Law Firm, we offer faster solutions, smarter strategies, and real results. We are not just your legal advisors, we are your partners for growth.
Okay, hello, my name is Angelo Romero. I'm the President and CEO of PNP Pain Center Corporation. Our company is a service company and we operate physical therapy and rehabilitation services.
Actually, sobrang dami naming challenges before working with De Castro, especially when it comes to the HR department. No, lahat ng mga mga aspects doon when it comes to proper termination, yung mga pag-build ng mga policies and all. So, doon kami pinaka nahirapan and natulungan kami na ma-align and maging compliant sa mga legalities and all ni De Castro. Overall, sobrang fun, sobrang collaborative, lalo na lahat ng mga staff, even sila attorney, no, hindi sila mahirap i-reach out, and at the same time, ang dami namin natututunan sa kanila, hindi lang more on sa HR aspects, even yung mga important ones, kaya masasabi ko naman na nag-grow talaga kami professionally dito kay De Castro.
I would definitely recommend it because definitely we appreciate yung services of De Castro. And sa mga co-businesses like us, we should accept or i-take natin to as not as an expense, no, but an investment. Kasi definitely to have structured HR processes is an advantage for our company. We could not cover everything on ourselves, no. It's good to have a partner, especially expert on these areas. So having a partner, especially for HR compliance, it's nice to have like a De Castro consultancy services for our company.
My name is Alvanson So. I am known here as Vanson. I am the regional people lead for Canva, Philippines. And later this year, we're going to branch out into Indonesia, Thailand, and Vietnam. So it's going to be a truly regional role, which I'm very excited about. In the beginning of Canva, we need to explore tools that help us scale. We have to take a look at the processes that are quite repetitive, quite administrative heavy, and has a huge opportunity for automations. There's a lot of compliance and regulatory requirements. So the first boxes that we need to tick was to find platforms that will help enable the HR processes to get through and get done in as little effort and as little mistake as possible. Scale is very important. efficiency, of course, becomes very critical as the size of the organization and the complexities of our processes get bigger. And definitely, we want to make sure that the platforms that we choose are the ones that can grow and scale in the same speed and pace as Canva. When we explore options, you also definitely want to consider who are the biggest contenders, who are the providers that are known to be reliable. We have to go down to cost and how this scales as we grow the company. And I think that this list of tick boxes have been quite exceptionally met by Sprout, which is why I think we've been with Sprout for the last 7+ years. Canva has been with Sprout even before I joined. When I joined Canva, for example, we were just around 250 employees, and platforms like Sprout is able to deliver the needs quite promptly, accurately, and despite growing to 900 headcount that we have today, same speed and reliability is expected and delivered without fail. I really like that we see higher velocities of work, where I get to do more with less, and people are actually not having any issues despite complexities and the increase in transactions, which is really good because it just gives us even more confidence that despite the growth or despite the changes in our ways of working, Sprout remains to be a reliable partner. There's many different alternatives available. We go for the company and for the platform that delivers its promise through great aftercare, great customer care, great technological interfaces, good customer support, and of course, the expected reliability that you get from Sprout. They're reliable, they are real partners, and they envision what we see as the future of our company. And we want to be able to work hand in hand, get to where we want to be in the next 10 years or so.
My name is Munish Mahajan. I'm the CEO and President of Pinnacle Intelligence. It's a company that's revolutionizing the US automotive retail industry. We started this company almost a few months back, and the intent is to bring global talent, technology, and analytics to this industry and improve their profitability, sales, and customer experience. Thankfully, I have had 2 stints before where I started a company from scratch, and both the time it was in Philippines. And in between, I worked for a company in the corporate world. And as we were starting Pinnacle, I just remembered those times when I first started my stint with the other 2 startup companies. I recall there were a lot of challenges as we were growing. Especially when you're small, it's not easy to attract talent. It's not easy to attract the best talent. People, they want to join large, stable companies. That's one. And then I'm based in the US. So I needed eyes, ears, my arms and legs on the ground. So when I met Arlene for the first time, and when I met the entire team, and she walked me through what DeCastro could do, I knew this was a solution, that this is what we had to choose. And we actually signed up with DeCastro, and I'm so glad that we made that decision.
Hi, I'm Len Gonzalez, and I'm the Human Capital Management Head of Dole.
I handle 18 talented staff, which handle namely talent acquisition, compensation and benefits administration, employee relations, learning and organization development. To enhance natural beauty, promote self-confidence, and inspire individuals to live their best life. We want to be instrumental in promoting medical tourism in the country. The way to do it is to hire more people and training them for us to effectively grow and operate the clinics. We're looking at other locations in Asia where we can establish our clinics. We were using a 7-year-old HR and payroll system that did not fully meet our needs. My staff were doing a lot of workarounds. It required them to process the timekeeping and payroll for several days. The master file was not centralized. We were handling 4 companies, and for you to get access to a person in a certain company, you need to log in and out several times just to approve their request. The biometric logs were not accessible real time. The tax annualization was not present. At the end of each year, for us to know the year-to-date taxes of the employees, we needed to do it manually because it wasn't available in the old system. We were doing payroll for 2 days. For Sprout now, we can do it in a day and even credit the payroll on the same day. I would say the support. Before, there was an assigned account person for us. They were not responsive. What we did was make our own workarounds. For Sprout, response is very fast. Now we're with Sarah, who's very supportive and responsive. They're very concrete in their plans. They have specific timelines for each activity. It only took us 2 parallel runs to implement the payroll. We didn't get much complaints from our employees. The transition was smooth from the implementation team, and once we implemented it, turned over to the customer success team, which are both responsive and helpful to us. Around only 3 months for us to get really used to it. After that, we're running it on our own without much help. The training was very good and comprehensive, and the trainer was also very helpful to us. Walkthroughs and the demos were very helpful, and it's also a combination of hands-on. Yeah, definitely I will recommend Sprout. What I do usually when I talk to my friends is tell them my experience with Sprout, from where we came from, how Sprout helped us manage our day-to-day operations in HR.
Okay, so good day. I'm Sharon Pedro.
And I'm Rizan Santos. My name is Hannah Williawina Eduarte Matienzo.
Ako si Godfrey Kibuyen.
I'm Kenneth Di Maculangan.
My name is Emeterio de Secenti Austria.
I see DPO as a minor function.
Actually, this one, very related siya with me because when the time was assigned to me this project, as in zero knowledge talaga ako.
Limitado lang yung kaalaman ko sa Data Privacy Act na hindi ko alam na ganun pala kalaki ang responsibilidad na gagawin.
I should say it's more on the DPO duties and responsibilities. I'm excited to go back in the plant to really, ang dami ko nang naplano, ang dami ko nang naisip, so I just have to animate that, to do the planning and to animate that coming from this training. So marami ako natutunan, definitely.
It's a lot of knowledge. So from zero knowledge, 6 right now. So mas confident na ako to create all the requirements na we need to comply with the NPC.
At dito ko rin natutunan na yung compliance, dapat gawin nating commitment.
Lalo sa mga notification and imprisonment, ayun yung mga key ways ko.
I was able to understand everything.
Thank you, Miss Attorney Arlene. Of course, we have Attorney Stefan and Attorney Kate.
It's a great experience. I would like to express my appreciation to the Castro team because even though we're a hybrid setup, face-to-face and online, I still cop up dun sa mga topics. Then at the same time, from the lawyers to Attorney Arlene, Attorney Stefan, and Attorney Kate, and to the rest of the marketing team.
Ang galing ng De Castro Consulting.
Because they are subject matter experts and because of the experience they had, I believe that it gives me confidence and at the same time best understanding that I can take in a data protection course.
Yes, definitely. I will strongly recommend. Not only specific to the DPO training. In fact, in the survey, I showed some training that may be related. Like for example, the HR, the empowerment, the recognition, and reward. So, nanote ko na agad sa utak ko. If HR will ask me, I'll definitely recommend this consultant.
Yes, definitely. Yes. 10 out of 10.
I think so. If not for my colleagues, if not for me, in the future, maybe for my daughter.
Ano pa ba masasabi nyo? Puro legal experts sa privacy, mga mentor natin dito.
Yes, I will recommend it. Also, sa mga co-workmates, di ba? Yung sa mga managerial level, kumbaga mag-undergo din sila na, kumbaga iba yung pang-company na magtuturo and siguro mas maganda na direct din, meron din silang knowledge.
Yes, of course. I believe because of, again, the expertise of the Decastros Consulting, people and even attendees will be able to catch everything that the data protection officer that needed, and especially not only for compliance, but the understanding that they need.
Today is all about labor relations. Labor relations is indeed a very important topic. So I'm very happy today because I'm in the presence of professionals. And I'm also happy because I'm in the presence of fellow business owners, founders, and COOs. And also we have people who are knowledge seekers. Number 1, create a telecommuting policy for your employees. Ano ba tong telecommuting policy? What's important to note here is that wala dapat discrimination or wala dapat iniba sa terms and conditions of employment ng taong nag-work from home versus sa taong nasa office ninyo. Okay? That's the most salient feature of that law.
Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests, let me welcome Attorney Arlene D. Castro.
You need to set as an expectation from the start of employment the duties and responsibilities of the employee for it to be valid. If you provide all those to the employees such as rewards and recognition, etc., then I doubt that you will ever need to have this labor relations management program for your employees. So thank you guys and have a great day.